The next video is going to span seasons 13 through 21. I think it's going to take me a little longer to make because I'm still in the process of taking notes and rewatching it. I think I'm on season 15 right now in my rewatch. So it might take like at least a month, probably 2, before the next video comes out.
At least a month, probably 2, before the next video comes out.
We're back. Sorry it's been so long. I don't really have a good excuse. This is kind of just something that I do for fun. So, also I had someone message me on my personal Facebook to ask when the next video was going to come out, which is kind of crazy behavior, and that kind of deterred me a little bit from wanting to make the next part. But we are here. I can't stay away from this terrible series. One of the reasons why it took me so long is because I started doing drag. If you don't like clowns, look away because I do drag as a clown. But here are some photos. I'm not going to tell you my name because I don't want you to know where to find me in real life. But if you recognize me or these locations, please do not comment it because I don't want people to know where to find me in real life. But I do drag now and it's great. But I just competed in a local drag competition, got second place. But now that that's over, I have time to do this again until I do something else that takes up so much time with drag. But we're back, season 13. Let's get it started. All right, episode 1 immediately follows the end of season 12, which is great because I totally remember how season 12 ended. We're at Amelia and Owen's wedding reception. Maggie gets Nathan to dance with her, and Meredith is about to tell Nathan about Maggie liking him when she gets a call from Joe. Wow, I don't remember any of these plot lines. It's been a while. Also, I have a cold. Sorry if I sound weird. Oh! DeLuca gets brought into the ER with Alex, and Alex won't answer when he's asked about what happened to DeLuca, but Ben notices that Alex is bleeding through his glove. Meredith and Weber try to get the story out of Joe, but she is still very drunk. Meredith leaves to try to get the story out of Alex. Meredith says that she has a duty to report him. Alex says it looked like DeLuca was assaulting Joe, and that's why he attacked him. Meredith tells Alex to say that he hurt his hand slipping in the rain. Black Star? He literally just said he attacked him. He attacked another doctor, and you're gonna be like, I know how to cover for him. Meredith, get real. Joe tells Weber that DeLuca did not attack her at all, and she sneaks away when Weber isn't looking. Jackson is worried that DeLuca could lose his eyesight in one eye from the attack. Alex goes to see DeLuca, but Joe stops him. Joe tries to tell him that DeLuca wasn't doing anything to her, but Alex won't listen. Alex is a real dick about it. Like, listen to your damn... They're not married yet. Your damn girlfriend. Oops, spoilers. They get married, sorry. Ben tells Meredith that he thinks he knows who hurt DeLuca, but he hasn't said anything because he knows about doing something stupid in the moment. All these doctors, man. Joe tells Steph about how she thinks she's gonna quit and she's like packing up her cubby. She tells Steph what happened, and Steph relays this to Meredith about how DeLuca didn't do anything to her. She relays this to Alex, and Meredith says that he has to go to Bailey. She says that DeLuca should press charges, and Alex still wants to talk to DeLuca. Weber tells Joe that she shouldn't leave. He's so nice. Let's give a gold star to Weber for being nice. Joe tells DeLuca that she's so sorry, and he asks if she's okay. Gold star for DeLuca. King! She tells him that he looks really ugly, which makes him laugh. Joe asks DeLuca to not tell anyone that she's married. He's like, oh, I see. I thought you were here because you cared about me, but alright. Alex comes in, and DeLuca starts screaming for help. Meredith tells Bailey. Bailey finds Alex turning himself in. Maggie's mad that Meredith lied to her about not telling her who attacked DeLuca, and Meredith goes to visit Alex in jail. Side note, you can tell that Karina was retconned in later because Maggie says she'll call DeLuca's parents. Also, his parents are divorced, aren't they? They never really mention his mom later, I don't think. But they definitely don't mention Karina currently. Bailey lets Ben do surgery stuff again. I don't remember why he couldn't do it. I'm sure he did something stupid. April tells Catherine that their baby's name is going to be Harriet. Catherine is like, did you name her after Harriet Tubman? And April's like, no, like Harriet the Spy. That's a lot better. That's a lot better, April. I don't know if you as a white woman can name your child after Harriet Tubman. And Catherine says, Harriet Avery, and April's like, who the fuck said her last name is gonna be Avery? Catherine is also holding the baby in her clutches like a supervillain, even refusing to let April hold her. Give her her damn baby. Episode 2, Meredith has posted bail for Alex. He has a court hearing today to see what he's getting charged with. The state is seeking felony assault in the 2nd degree, and he pleads not guilty. It's DeLuca's first day back at work. Is it not weird that they're letting the both of them work here together when he's, like, being charged with assault for him? Shouldn't Alex be, like, suspended? Meredith talks to DeLuca about how she also got attacked by someone and how she learned to forgive her attacker and how that was really necessary for her healing process. And DeLuca is like, girl, your attacker was in a fugue state. Mine knew exactly what he was doing. Where it was like, hey, you're an intern. You shouldn't be spending your time in a courtroom. Like, drop the charges. Meredith, come on. Black Star. Come on. And DeLuca is like, I know you have power over me, but you can't threaten me like this. Stand your fucking ground, man. Bailey tells Alex that the person who beat up DeLuca is the Alex from years ago. That's true. Like, what is this character assassination? Alex wouldn't do this. Maybe like season 1 Alex, but like season 12, man. Bailey also takes Alex off of all surgeries and puts him in the clinic. That's what I'm saying they should do, Gold Star Bailey. DeLuca asks Arizona if he needs to move out, and she says no and hugs him. I forgot Arizona was here in season 12. I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. April is still in the hospital recovering from her C-section, and she is sad because Harriet gets to go home, and she thinks that she should be bonding with her and smelling her like birds and dogs, which confuses Jackson. Jackson tells April that he thinks that she should stay with him while she recovers. Oh yeah, Callie is officially gone. Fly high, queen. I'll miss you forever. Maggie asks Nathan out on a date, and he says no. Arizona is back from somewhere, and she is very distressed seeing DeLuca. Remember, they're roomies, so they're pals. Arizona brings up how Owen punched Riggs, and no one was punished, and Owen is like, oh, that's different because it was personal. What the fuck do you call what happened between them then? April's healing well and she can get up out of bed now. Maggie is not over Nathan, and Meredith tells Nathan that he should go on a date with her just to be a dick so she'll get over it. Maggie asks Meredith if she's into anyone, and she says no. Weird advice. Just have her get over it normally. Episode 4, Amelia is acting strangely. She's worried that she and Owen got married too fast. Understatement of the century. Amelia tells Owen about how her boyfriend OD'd in bed next to her, and died. I think this is a Private Practice storyline, but I haven't watched Private Practice. Owen tells her about how he choked Christina, and they talk about having kids. Celebrity alert, Taylor Page is here. She's a patient that Alex treats in the clinic, and Alex diagnoses her with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, so gold star for Alex. Jackson tells April that he doesn't want her to move out, and she agrees. And Meredith tells Nathan that they should just be friends. Episode 5, April is back to work. Amelia's period is late, so she thinks she's pregnant. She asks Meredith how she told Derek that she was pregnant, and she says, I gave Zola a shirt that said Best Big Sister, and then for Ellis I was off the hook because he was dead. So that doesn't really help her. But she takes a pregnancy test, and it's negative. Owen helps Jackson by taking Harriet to daycare, but she won't stop crying. Alex holds her, and she stops and starts again when Owen holds her. Owen holds her and says, you like me, right? No one does. No one fucking does. Episode 6, Alex has to go to court to set a trial date. DeLuca and Joe have become good pals again. We'll give a gold star. I have a gold star in my notes for this, but I don't know who the gold star is supposed to be for, so I'm just not going to give anyone a gold star. Joe has been avoiding Alex, and she tells this to DeLuca. Later, though, DeLuca sees her talking to Alex and feels betrayed. She says that they were working on the case together. DeLuca tells her that she always picks the bad guy, and she deserves better. That's a crazy thing to say after you just learned that she was with a very abusive man for a while, like... Oh, and to make matters even worse, Leah's back. Why? Catherine is here and asks Bailey why Alex wasn't fired. That is such a great question. I would also like to know the answer. Catherine says that she's too lenient with Alex and with Ben. Catherine changes her mind and says that she doesn't need to fire Alex, actually, but they do need to fix how they teach their doctors. This is a very recurring theme in these later seasons, is that they're bad at teaching. Greystone used to be the lead teaching hospital, and now it's not. I'll give Catherine a gold star because she's right. Bailey reminds her that her husband is the head of the residency program, and she's like, I know. I think I somehow lost my string that connects Weber and Catherine. Let me fix that. Anyways, Alex diagnoses a woman with cancer that he met in the courthouse, and he comes up with a way to save her baby, so gold star. Amelia tells Alex that she had a baby, but he was born without a brain, and he died. I think this is also a private practice storyline. Way to give the neurosurgeon a baby without a brain. That's just genius, Shonda. You know how to do it. I don't think she's even working on these shows anymore. She doesn't think that she can tell Owen because he wants kids so badly, and she realizes that she doesn't want kids. How does he keep doing this where he ends up with women who do not want kids? Episode 7, Owen and Amelia are fighting, and it is negatively affecting their patient care, so black stars for the both of them. Amelia finally tells Owen that she doesn't want kids. Catherine's teaching upheaval starts today. An education consultant is going to come around to assess their teaching, and her name is Dr. Eliza Minnick. Let's put her on the wall. You'll never guess what she gets up to. Leah says that she has a reputation for firing people, and Alex thinks that this is because of him that they're getting this education rehaul, and Steph thinks it's because of Ben. Did he do the baby shit last season where he cut up that mother and she died? I can't remember. Minnick talks to the residents about how she wants to hear about the attendings, their hours, who they love or hate, and she's offering the chance to do a solo surgery, which really gets all of the residents on their side, and the attendings don't really care for it. Maggie steals Minnick's notebook, and it has a ranking of the attendings with Maggie at the bottom and Jackson at the top. And Arizona isn't even on it. Amelia's name is spelled wrong, and Nathan is higher than Maggie. Maggie asks Leah how she could be a better teacher, and Leah says that Maggie is too fast. They scrub in on a surgery together with Minnick, and Maggie tries out the teaching techniques. Maggie has some trouble at first, but then she gets the hang of it, and Weber is not receptive to this at all. Arizona tells Minnick that she made a mistake by not putting her on her ranked list, and Minnick says it wasn't a ranking, it was just a way for her to remember everyone's names, but she didn't need any help remembering Arizona's name. Gay? I know what you are. April's on Tinder getting a bunch of matches. She goes out on a date with some guy, but we don't see him, so no wall. Episode 8. This episode is almost entirely about Owen, Weber, Steph, and Meredith doing a single surgery. We see Megan in a flashback. Here's a photo. We also see Meredith telling Zola and Bailey, child Bailey, that Derek died in a flashback. And she says, I can't fix him because no one can fix him because he is dead. Daddy died. Ouch! We also get some tragic Weber backstory that his mom died when he was 10. Episode 9 I wrote is a good episode. Meredith, Maggie, and Alex are all driving to work when they see a building collapse in front of them. Bailey has everyone taking photos of the victims, very much like the ferry accident in season 3. Ben and Leah talk to the landlord of the building, who tells them it was his fault that the building collapsed. He knew it needed to be fixed and didn't do anything, and Warren tells Steph about it and some of the tenants overhear. Ooh. Bailey has hired Minnick on, but hasn't told Weber that she'll be taking his job. I'm gonna give a black star for Bailey because you really should tell him, because Weber's kind of a baby about that kind of stuff. Bailey tells Weber that he's not getting fired, but she's running the residency program. Jackson and Maggie rally the other attendings together to protest Minnick replacing Weber. Maggie and Weber lose a patient, and Somewhere Only We Know plays. The mother goes to find the landlord to try to kill him, but Ben stops her, so let's give him a gold star. The trial for Alex is tomorrow, and Jo is worried about being called as a witness because then she'll have to say what her real name is. DeLuca tells her to lie, but Jo says that if it came out, she could lose her medical license. Jo tells Alex that she's married, that he was abusive, and that she didn't divorce him because then he would be able to find her. Her name isn't Joe Wilson, and that's why she can't marry him. She didn't tell him because she was worried that he would find her husband and try to kill him. She tells Alex that if she ditches town tomorrow, it won't be because of him. It'll be because her husband will be able to find her. Alex tells her that she's Jo Wilson and she belongs here. Alex tells Meredith that he's going to plea out and go to prison for 2 years, and then he goes to see the DA. Arizona is playing hard to get with Minnick to the point that Minnick just tells her that she's into women. Arizona says she thinks she's hot, but she doesn't like that she walks around like she owns the place. Later, Minnick asks her out, and she says, yes, let's connect them. Amelia also breaks up with Owen in a letter. Who would do such a thing? Man, she and Steph really are mother and daughter breaking up with people in a letter. I love them. I love them so much. Episode 10 I also wrote is a great episode. Jo, Arizona, and Bailey are going to work on a case. It's still the day before the trial, and they are treating a pregnant teenage girl in a prison hospital. Celebrity alert, the patient's attorney is Jasmine Savoy Brown, Taissa from Yellow Jackets, and not from any other movie series at all. The girl patient breaks the prison doctor's finger when she enters the room. The guards shackle her, which Jasmine says they can't do legally, but the doctor says that it's their policy after an inmate attacks someone. Jasmine is like a horse whisperer with this girl and knows how to calm her down. Bailey goes to check on the doctor's finger and she pops it back into place, which Bailey is like, holy shit, how'd you do that? You freak. Jasmine has to leave briefly to deal with another client. Bailey is super worried that the girl is going to kill them. Girl, Black Star. And Joe is very sympathetic towards her, Gold Star. Bailey wanders around and ends up helping another patient. She acts all high and mighty to the prison doctor, and the doctor shows her their supply closet, which is very bare. Arizona finds out that the patient's mom is going to adopt her baby and then never take it to visit her mom, which is all the patient wants. Joe wants to tell her, but Arizona says they can't. The patient starts to go into labor, but the mom doesn't want to see her, even though she could. The patient knows that Joe knows something and isn't telling her, so Joe tells her that her mom doesn't want to see her. Arizona asks the mom, when this one makes a mistake, will you leave her too? Tell her. After they leave, Bailey tells Joe and Arizona that Alex told her that he was going to take the plea bargain, and Joe throws up. Episode 11, Meredith and Maggie are trying to find Alex. They search up his case and see that the trial has been canceled. Joe is feeling really shitty and blaming herself for putting Alex in prison. Meredith is running around to jails around the city to try to find Alex. She goes to bed at the end of the night and finds Alex in her bed, and he has been there all day. Amelia is avoiding Owen and staying at Steph's place. My divas! Diva off! When two divas join up to maximize their joint slay! You know? Minnick moves surgeries around so that she can watch them all. Girl, it's her first day. Weber wants to sabotage her so that she can't get into any of the ORs. Everyone gives her the runaround so she can't see any surgeries. That's so petty. Arizona is talking a pregnant lady in a car through labor over the phone when the car crashes. Her legs were up on the dash, which is bad, and the guy in the other car was her husband. Episode 12, Alex says that he talked to the DA, but then DeLuca barges in and says he's dropping the charges, but the DA is the only one who can drop them. DeLuca says then he'll go on the stand and tell the truth, that he started the fight, and we find out that Ben was the one who told DeLuca that Alex was going to turn himself in. Alex apologizes to DeLuca and gets mad that he didn't try to apologize any sooner. Alex meets with Bailey, and she says that he can start back once he gets his court dismissal papers, and she makes him promise that he won't do anything to scare her like that again. He's not going to keep that, but Minnick is like Arizona Peppy, but in a bad way. Like, her teaching style is good, but she's so in your face about it. Bailey sends Meredith home when she won't let Minnick watch her surgery, and Steph goes around the hospital like Paul Revere telling people that Bailey took out Gray. Maggie's mom is in town, and she's getting a consult from Jackson. She plans a dinner with Weber as well. At the appointment with Jackson, she shows him a big patch of redness on her chest, and he says that the results show breast cancer. It's one of my least favorite storylines. Maggie's mom feeds Meredith lasagna, and Maggie is very rude to her mom. Black Star, girl. Owen has good bedside manner with a patient who is tangled in razor wire, so Gold Star. Amelia takes a leave of absence, and that is why she's still avoiding Owen. Bailey calls April into her office to make a tough decision. She has hired a new interim chief of general while Meredith is suspended, and it's April. When did Meredith get suspended? Steph and Leah show up at Joe's with pizza, beer, and gossip. They tell her all about the attendings' mutiny against Minnick, and they also tell her that Alex isn't going to prison. Joe goes to Meredith's place and hugs Alex, and then she walks away without saying anything. Episode 13, April is nervous about her new position. Bailey assures her that she trusts her. The other attendings say that she's a traitor for working with Bailey and Minnick. Maggie tells April to shut up to her face. Black Star, Maggie, come on. April really girl bosses this ep. Jackson is also mean to April. Everyone stop being mean to April right now. Right fucking now. Weber found out that Catherine got him replaced, and he is pretty mad. Minnick is starting phase 2 of her program A resident will get to lead a case from start to finish with the attending assisting. Steph and Warren get to do their first cases. Warren's case is one that was originally Weber. Bailey and Weber fight throughout Warren's surgery. Arizona gets mad at Minnick for letting Steph's case be a peds case. The case goes south and Arizona has to step in, but it's too late and the kid dies. Steph asks Minnick if she killed that boy, and she doesn't answer. Minnick tells Arizona that she's never lost a kid patient before, and Steph gets comfort from Weber. Episode 14, Amelia is back at Meredith's house instead of Steph's. Meredith is so bored of being suspended. How did she get suspended? Minnick has the residents doing a kidney transplant. She asks them who's ready to do one, and Steph says that she's not ready, which Minnick says is the right answer. They won't be leading, but they will be helping extensively. Joe brings a patient's dad up to see him, but there's some bad blood between the parents. The mom gets super mad at Joe. The husband is abusive, which freaks Joe out. One of the kidney dies, leaving only one kidney between the kid and his mom, and they gotta use the abusive dad's kidney. Joe tells off the abusive dad. Gold star for Joe. It's also Alex's first day back today. Jackson almost catches Minnick and Arizona being buddy-buddy. They're having fun pretending to hate each other when people walk past, and later, they smooch. Bailey tells Meredith to try to hash it out. She tells Meredith that she can come back, and Meredith says that she can't until Weber is the residency director and Minnick is gone. After talking to Bailey, Weber talks to Meredith and tells her to come back, and Meredith calls Bailey. Okay, that's how she got suspended. I gotta take better notes, I guess. I did write in my notes, though, that I missed DeLuca. Episode 15, Maggie wants Amelia to come off of leave so that she can clip an aneurysm. To be honest, I feel like Steph could do it, but she assures her that Owen won't see her. Amelia sees him, though, to help him with an incoming patient in the ER. Owen asks Amelia if she wants to be married to him, and she says yes, but she can't talk to him because she doesn't want to fight. Meredith is back. Alex asks DeLuca if they're cool to work together, and DeLuca says they're cool. The attendings are worried that they're losing the fight against Minnick. Maggie admits that her program is good, but Jackson doesn't want to give up the fight. Dated moment. Weber gets mad at Catherine for seeing Hamilton without him. Joe and DeLuca have a nice moment this episode. Ben gets stuck with a fighting Jackson and April and a fighting Catherine and Weber in surgery. Things get heated and Catherine says to Jackson, "You are an outstanding surgeon," with the unsaid part being, "But you are not an Avery." In case you were worried, the music choices in this season are still terrible in comparison to the previous seasons. Still bad. Episode 16 I wrote is a decent episode. April and Jackson are going on a trip together to Montana to do some transplant surgeries. The doctor at the hospital makes the two of them tell the donor's dad that the kid is gonna die. And to make it worse, it's the kid's 10th birthday. Real scummy. Jackson convinces the dad to donate his kid's organs by bringing up their baby's death. Before the surgery, Jackson has some business to take care of. He heads to a local bar, and he seems starstruck by the bartender. April comes to find him to update him about the surgery, but he is quite drunk and yells at her. After Jackson leaves, April learns that the bartender is Jackson's dad, Robert Avery. He didn't even recognize Jackson. April tells him to make him know him. They have a long talk. Jackson is very guarded. His dad doesn't know anything about Jackson. Jackson comes up with a way to use the girl's intestines for her throat since the donor's throat doesn't work out. So gold star for Jackson. After successfully performing the surgery, Jackson and April sleep together. Yes, my favorite straight couple, the one good straight couple. Jackson also does a mic drop moment with his dad. Episode 17, Amelia is back. For realsies, let's go. Celebrity alert. June Squibb is here. Apparently I was also taking these notes on her birthday. Okay. June is a famous surgeon, and I think she's there with her husband. If you don't know June Squibb, she's about to be in Yellow Jackets as, I'm just going to make a guess, Misty's grandmother? I don't know. Adult Lottie 2? Adult Jackie is June Squibb. You heard it here first. Maggie's mom has started chemo. Jackson reports that the chemo is working and he really wants to tell Maggie that she has cancer, but the mom does not want to tell her. She wants to wait until she beats it. Joe finds out that Maggie's mom has cancer. Maggie comes in and asks why she can't access her mom's chart, and she's being a real baby about her mom, thinking that she wants to get a boob job. Black star. Before surgery, Maggie's mom finally tells her that it's cancer. Owen talks to Amelia and they fight, which is exactly what she said would happen. Later, Amelia tells Owen that she feels suffocated by him, and then she says, I would love to ask Christina how suffocated she felt by you. 8, but also that's really mean, so Black Star, sorry. Weber catches Arizona and Minnick kissing. Scandal! Nathan shaved his beard at one point, and it really draws attention to his lack of lips. I wrote in my notes that I found out that the actress who plays Minnick is sisters in real life with the actress who plays Carolina in Succession. What a world. DeLuca tells Steph that he is in love with Joe. Boo! Tomato, tomato, they have such a good friendship. Stop it! Stop it! Nathan has been trying to convince Meredith they should be together for the past few episodes. Episode 18, this episode is directed by Ellen Pompeo. Slay. But it's part of this arc. Maggie's mom has her mastectomy, but a new mark shows up on her scans. Maggie pushes her mom to get surgery ASAP. After the surgery, she tells Meredith that her stomach is bothering her. They get new scans, and she's got Mets in her liver. Meredith thinks Maggie is going too fast with it. Maggie and her mom fire Meredith for not doing a painful and possibly unnecessary surgery. Maggie talks to Bailey, Weber, and Jackson about getting her mom into a clinical trial. Bailey doesn't want to remove the Met either, and they think that the clinical trial is a bad idea. Weber talks to her mom about how hard the trial will be, how much of a toll it'll take, and she says that Maggie says it's a good idea, and that Maggie wouldn't do anything to make it worse. They do the trial, and her mom has a lot of negative side effects. Mara says that the treatment is killing her faster than the cancer. Maggie's mom wants to pay respect to Ellis for staying in her house, and Meredith tells her that she dumped her ashes down the scrub sink in OR2 because it seemed like the right thing at the time. This makes her laugh really hard until she starts coughing up blood. Weber talks to her later after surgery, and she tells him that she doesn't want to die. Maggie is doing her mom's nails when she dies. They play an indie sad boy version of Closer by Tegan and Sara when her dad comes. I cannot stress enough how bad the music has been recently. It's terrible. Episode 19, it's Maggie's first day back. She wants to get into a big surgery with Arizona, but the patients want Nathan on the case because they're friends with Owen. She convinces the parents that she can do the operation. She removes the tumor from the heart, but then she freezes. The crew wants Nathan to run down to replace her, but he trusts her. She wasn't freezing. She was letting the heart adjust to not having a tumor attached to it. Arizona tells Nathan that she and Minnick are together, and she's worried that Nathan will judge her, so she tells him that she's been recently divorced. That's not true. They got divorced seasons ago. Stephanie treats one of the interns because he has diverticulitis. Stephanie will be the lead surgeon on this case. When they open him up, April notices... Where's April? April notices that Cross, the intern, has abdominal TB. Steph and DeLuca run out because they're scared of being infected. Meredith sets up a not date with Nathan, and if it goes well, they're going to tell Maggie about it. Nathan tells Arizona that she's going on a date with someone, and Arizona asks if it's Owen, and then she figures it out. It's Mare. She gives a speech about how Meredith's heart beat for Derek Shepherd, and they were the great love story. Also, Arizona must have a cold or something because her voice is all husky.
I wasn't ready for it, that's all I'm saying. I mean, I wasn't trying to make it happen. I mean, I thought that it would happen sometime, but not now.
Meredith is about to go on her date when Maggie comes home in tears. Nathan gets a little annoyed that she cancels her date. Bruh, Black Star, her mom just died, but the sisters dance it out. Just realized we haven't seen Leah since episode 12. What happened? Jackson shows Maggie pictures of her mom that she gave him. Episode 20 I wrote is a great episode. Oh, this is a great episode. Nathan and Meredith are on a flight. Not together, but they end up sitting together. They're both going to a surgery conference. Meredith tells Nathan that they're not going to get together. Nathan is not taking no for an answer. Bro, give it up. Or maybe not, because they hook up in the bathroom. The plane starts experiencing some bad turbulence. They both say they hate flying because they've both been in plane crashes. Nathan doesn't want to talk about his because it does not compare to Meredith's. A big patch of turbulence goes through and people fly out of their seats. Meredith wants to get up and help people, but they have to wait for the turbulence to pass. Once it passes, they get up to help. Nathan helps a flight attendant who hurt her wrist, and Meredith helps a guy who hit the ceiling. Another doctor on the flight goes around checking other people. He's a dentist. Meredith wants to land the plane because the guy who hit his head might have a brain bleed, but the pilot says they can't land for a while because they're stuck between two storm systems. Meredith tells Nathan about Lexi dying in a plane crash. My diva! Where is she? My diva! You are still missed and loved. The brain bleed patient starts getting worse, so Meredith asks the pilot again to land, and she says it's not safe to land. Meredith says if they were in a hospital, she would be doing burr holes. She asks the flight attendant if they have a drill. They set him up to stick a needle in his head repeatedly to get the blood out. She has to do this in between patches of turbulence also. Meredith removes the needle from the syringe so she doesn't have to keep taking the needle in and out. Nathan gets called away to help a rude passenger because his heart is acting up. Meredith and Nathan's seatmate helps Meredith with the syringe while Nathan shocks his guy. The pilot comes on and says that she's going to land the plane. A big turbulence hits and everyone falls over, but the needle is still in place. Nathan's guy hasn't had a heartbeat in minutes. Meredith fashions together something with the needle and a straw so the blood inside his brain can spurt out. Nathan's guy gets a pulse, and the plane gets through the crazy turbulence, and they land. Let's give them both gold stars for that act of heroicism. The captain shakes Meredith's hand, and the flight attendant tries to get Nathan's phone number, and he turns her down. Meredith and Nathan get a hotel room together. That is a great episode. Episode 21, Meredith is planning on telling Maggie about her and Nathan today. Meredith and Nathan are having a press conference about the two of them saving those lives on the plane, and Maggie notices Nathan touching Meredith's shoulder during it and figures it out. And Maggie is super pissed and immature about the whole thing. Black Star, you didn't even get together. You just had a crush. Calm down. A patient throws up all over April. I'm so glad I'm not a doctor. She finds a worm in her hair from the patient that threw up on her. That's nasty, disgusting. She's got worms in her stomach. They start pulling out handfuls of worms. Some of the worms are almost a foot tall, and Steph is taking selfies with them. I'll put up a picture. Episode 22, Meredith asks Amelia if she wants a giant tumor, and she says, "Why would I want that?" Meredith takes down Derek's tumor drawing and puts their post-it in a drawer. Minnick, Bailey, and Weber talk to the residents and what specialties they'll go in. Minnick says that Ben has been playing it too safe, literally never, and Weber talks some sense into him. April and Meredith are treating a patient who tells them to ignore her scans because she has a giant inoperable tumor. Maggie, however, doesn't think it's inoperable. She convinces the girl to let her operate, but just like the girl said, when she opens her up, she realizes it is indeed inoperable. Alex treats a kid with a brain tumor whose parents want to take him home without surgery because God will save him. The next day, the kid comes back. He can't see. Alex gets him into surgery without the parents' consent by saying that the kid is having a seizure, even though he wasn't. That's like a gold star and a black star moment because the kid did need surgery, but that is illegal. So it just like evens it out. So he's not getting anything. But like, something shifted. Something happened. Minnick is pissed. The dad tells Alex that he's going to sue him. Bailey and Minnick tell Alex that he could go to jail again, and Alex says, "I'd go to jail for this." Steph tears into the dad and calls him stupid and throws something at him. Black star Steph. She gets suspended for that. They have gotten away with much worse, but she gets suspended for that. DeLuca tries to confess his feelings for Joe, but she stops him. Thank you. Alex calls, I think, his lawyer to get a referral to find someone. Episode 23, two army people show up to the hospital to talk to Owen with news about Megan. We don't hear the news, but Owen is shell-shocked at work. Amelia notices Owen acting super weird, and he tells her that the soldiers told him that they found Megan, and she's alive. Owen doesn't believe it. He thinks that they could be wrong about Megan. Amelia says that they should find out. She talks to Teddy, who is in Germany at the hospital with Megan. Teddy says that it's her. Amelia asks for her to get transferred to Seattle. Owen is doing bad, feeling like he's left her to be tortured for 10 years while he just went on with his life. Amelia tells Meredith and says that she has to tell Nathan immediately. Stephanie is no longer suspended. My queen is back. My queen is back. Alex is in LA. He's tracked down Joe's husband. Oh, I forgot to put on the wall, Robert Avery, because he was married to Catherine, so they are connected, as well as Joe's husband, Paul Stadler, who is played by Matthew Morrison. And he is also a doctor. Alex tells him that his name is Alex Stevens. Using Izzy's last name is crazy. Alex fantasizes about beating him up. The last name was also not real, just another fantasy of him telling Paul that he's a friend of Brooke Stadler, and that he ever comes near her again, he'll kill him. But when he gets home, he finds Paul strangling Joe. So just like trying to fantasize about how he can have like a moment with Paul, but nothing really works out. Another couple comes to the hospital because their baby is choking. Their other daughter also keeps wandering off in the hospital. Celebrity alert. The non-choking daughter is also the daughter in Big Little Lies.
Door, and that's you. Me, of course. I don't understand.
The door's hinged.
The gang treats a couple that was brought in because their car crashed while they were having sex. When the woman wakes up, she asks if the man is alive, but she passes out again before they answer. The guy wakes up and asks if the girl is alright and if they've talked to her. He wants to leave immediately. He really wants to see the girl before she wakes up as well. When the girl finally wakes up, she says, "Please tell me I killed him." They weren't a couple. He was trying to rape her, and she crashed the car on purpose. Meanwhile, Stephanie is wheeling around the guy to try to find the girl. A bunch of security rushes past the guy, and he holds a scalpel to Steph's throat, and he tells her to show him the exit. She tries to take him down the stairs, but he won't do that. Bailey calls a code orange to lock the place down. The guy trips and cuts Steph's throat. The little girl who is wandering around comes upon them. Stephanie tells her to go, but she can't because the doors are locked. Stephanie convinces him to not hurt the girl by saying that they can leave, but they're locked in too. The guy's trying to break through the door. Stephanie says that the doors won't open unless security calls off the code or if there's an emergency like a fire. He grabs Stephanie and tells her to start a fire to set off the sprinklers. The guy makes the kid start the fire for her, but Stephanie stops her. He tells Steph that he's going to take the girl when the doors open because no one would stop a guy carrying a kid out of a burning building. Stephanie tells the girl to turn away. The guy sets a fire and Stephanie sprays him with alcohol so that he catches on fire. Gold star! Gold star! Stephanie grabs the girl and they hide in another room. The guy runs around and falls next to a bunch of O2 tanks. Stephanie tells the girl to get in a corner, and she runs out to move him, but it's too late, and the tanks explode. Episode 24, Meredith is going to the hospital to tell Nathan about Megan when she sees the explosion. Arizona, Meredith, and Minnick get cleared to go in. Bailey and Weber tell everyone to evacuate patients and bring them to April outside. Minnick doesn't like that Meredith and Jackson are looking for people instead of following protocol. Owen wants to go to Grey Sloan to help out, but Amelia says that they have to go to another hospital to get Megan. Meredith gets Alex in on her quest to find the little girl. Ben tells April that he doesn't like fire. It's his worst nightmare. Meredith finds Nathan operating and helps him so that they can finish faster. The fire is on the floor above them. Minnick forgot to tell the police that Steph is missing. Jackson goes to search for Steph, and while searching he finds a patient and picks her up to save her. The little girl is trapped in the burning room underneath something. Stephanie wakes up and goes to help her. She covers her coat in water and uses that to put out some of the fire. The girl's leg is impaled by some equipment. Stephanie makes a makeshift tourniquet so that she won't bleed out, and she talks to the girl to calm her down while she fixes her leg. Stephanie gets her stitched up when their exit gets blocked. Stephanie covers a towel and herself in water. She picks up the girl, covers some of the towel, and jumps through fire. Gold star, Stephanie, you're so cool! They get to the stairwell. The way down is burning with smoke rising up. Stephanie says they have to get to the roof. They get there, and the door is locked, and she realizes that she doesn't have her key card. They're stuck. Stephanie puts the blanket on top of the girl. She looks down and sees her key card a few floors down. She assures the girl that she'll be right back. She goes down, gone for a bit, but she comes back with her key card. They get to the roof. Stephanie screams for help, but no one hears her. The girl passes out from blood loss, and Stephanie has to do CPR. Another gold star for Stephanie, my hero, my queen! Ben tells the firefighters that he can lead them to where he saw Stephanie last. He grabs firefighting gear and leads the way. They find the room completely charred. Warren sees the blood trail, and they follow it up the stairs. They find Stephanie, and she's still doing CPR all the way to the ER, and everyone assures her that she can stop, but she has to save the kid. Bailey and Warren operate on her in the trauma room, and Stephanie tells them not to amputate her leg. Stephanie holds her hand the entire time. Another gold star! Jackson comes in to look at Stephanie's burns, and she passes out as soon as Bailey says that the girl is stable. After Meredith and Nathan get out, she makes sure that she doesn't have any smoke inhalation, and that she says, remember the dream, where they come back, and she tells him that they found Megan alive. He tells her that that's not funny, and she says that the army called Owen that morning. I'm getting chills just reading this part. This is a great season finale. Amelia and Owen get to the hospital. Owen is still shell-shocked, and he starts having an out-of-body experience. I wish I had put an X over Megan to say that she was dead, and then I could take it off, but I guess I didn't do that. The next day, Catherine has a meeting with Bailey, Weber, and Minnick, and Catherine asks them why it took so long to find Steph. Minnick says that if Steph and Weber had followed protocol, then this wouldn't have happened. Stephanie should have gone to counseling, and Weber shouldn't have signed off on her coming back. Bailey says that the little girl would have been dead if that happened, and that there isn't a place for Minnick at this hospital anymore. She doesn't know when to ignore protocol to save someone, and she says they need to teach them how to be humans and not robots, and Minnick is fired. April tells Maggie that Jackson likes her. Ew, their parents are married. That's disgusting. Stephanie is getting treated for her burns, and it looks very painful. Her burns are severe. Stephanie tells Weber that she needs to not be in a hospital anymore, and she's quitting. Fly high, my queen. I love you so much. I love you so much, Stephanie. If they ever brought her back, I would lose my fucking mind. Nathan tells Meredith that he needs to go to the hospital to see Megan. They both hug. He says he's sorry, and she says, if this was Derek, I would already be gone. Owen and Amelia watch a army helicopter land, and they see Megan get pulled out on a stretcher, and Owen smiles. And that is the end of season 13. Pretty decent season. I just finished rewatching season 18 yesterday to take my notes, and it was terrible. So this is still like in an okay era of Grey's Anatomy season 13. So yeah, my favorite episodes were the plane episode with Meredith and Nathan, and then the explosion episode because Stephanie, my icon, gets to shine. And obviously my favorites for the season were Stephanie, Joe, and Nathan. So let's move on to season 14. We are back. Season 14, episode 1. Owen greets Megan after she gets off of the helicopter, and she says, "Who are you?" But then she says she's just kidding. Good bit. That's a great bit, Megan. Really good bit. And they hug. Megan tells them that she wasn't treated horribly. Nathan comes in and hugs her very hard, but her stomach hurts. She's got a huge wound. They transfer her to Grey Sloan. Owen and Nathan are taking some leave. Meredith wants to help fix Megan's stomach. She says that she wants the surgery because it'll be hard to live with an open stomach because she has to go back to Iraq to be with her son. Both of his parents died, so she adopted him. Not legally, but like, it's her kid. She's the only thing that kept her sane for 10 years was him. His name is Farouk. I'll put up a photo. Owen tells Megan that their mom is dating a hot young fireman. Meredith tells Megan that Owen was married twice. Owen goes to get coffee for Megan and runs into Teddy. She's back! Yippee! For now. Megan wants Owen to play the bagpipes for her to make her feel better. You know, different healing mechanisms for different people, I guess. Owen is super worried about Megan being in surgery. Teddy comforts him, and Amelia sees. Teddy thinks it's weird that they aren't telling Megan that Meredith was dating Nathan. She tells Meredith that it's not appropriate. Maggie tells them that they should tell Megan too. Nathan goes to tell her, but Meredith beats him to it. Megan tells Meredith that Nathan has excellent taste in women. True. Meredith does another surgery on Megan, but she doesn't have enough tissue to close her stomach. Bailey is giving a speech to everyone about the dangers from the fire when the ceiling collapses. A group of sub-interns are here. They are fourth-year medical students who might be interns next year. Weber is showing them around, and they are all very annoying. One of them, spoiler alert, will be an intern in the next season, and his name is Levi. Let's put him on the wall. All the sub-Is get to observe a trauma that April is working on. One of the interns faints, and another one screams. Weber lets them observe the surgery that Joe is doing, and Levi's glasses fall into the patient, and Joe kicks them out of the OR. Let's give a black star for Levi. Joe is sad that she doesn't have a bestie like Steph anymore. Girl, me too. Girl, me too. Warren tells Joe that finding Steph with the firefighters was a rush. Joe tells DeLuca that she's still in love with Alex. Levi sits next to Joe at the bar and wants to buy her a drink as an apology. And they hook up. Isn't that crazy? I totally forgot that happened. Let's connect them. Arizona goes to Minnick's place to talk to her, but it's completely empty. April tells her that she got ghosted. Arizona is very excited to see Teddy. Arizona goes to a bar and talks to a beautiful Italian woman. I'll cover up her name, but here she is. DeLuca comes home and finds Arizona hooking up with her and starts to argue with her because it's his sister, Karina DeLuca. Angels are singing from up above for Karina DeLuca. I love Karina. Let's put her on the wall and let's connect her to Arizona. Amelia wants to operate on an inoperable tumor, common theme at this hospital. She says she doesn't believe in them, just like unicorns. Jackson tells her that she would have better luck hunting a unicorn, so go find one. Amelia says, "You don't hunt unicorns. What's the matter with you?" Maggie tells Jackson about April telling her that Jackson likes her. She's like, "Isn't that crazy?" and walks away. Episode 2, Meredith breaks a bunch of stuff out of anger for not being able to close up Megan. Later, Meredith has a Grey's realization moment when she's picking at the wall of her room where the tumor drawing used to be. She wants to do a stomach wall transplant. Megan wants to do the surgery. Meredith recruits the sub-I to find a donor. Whoever finds it will get to scrub in on the surgery. The sub-interns are all pretty useless. Levi finds someone who would be a good match and tells Jo about it, telling her that whoever finds the donor gets to scrub in. Jo tells Meredith that she found a good match for it and takes this. Black Star, Jo, come on. Not cool. While Meredith performs the surgery, Weber says to Maggie, "You came here to see what Ellis was like? It was like this." And Meredith fixes Megan's stomach. Gold star for Meredith. Teddy, Owen's mom, and Megan call an intervention for Owen about him and Amelia. They say that she's been super absent. He says he doesn't need her to be here, and Megan is like, "And you don't think that's a problem?" Megan makes Owen promise that if she dies, he'll take care of Farouk, her son. Nathan kicks everyone out of the room so that he can propose to her. Aww. Meredith comes in to tell them that they found a match and interrupts them. She doesn't give an answer to Nathan. Owen kisses Teddy. "You're still married." After telling her about how Amelia doesn't want to be married to him, but she pulls away. Nathan tells Meredith that Megan doesn't want to marry him because she thinks that he is still in love with Meredith, and Meredith walks away. Jo is majorly regretting hooking up with Levi. She accidentally steps on his glasses when he goes to leave. Jo tells Warren that she did a really stupid thing, and then Levi walks up. Alex finds out and laughs at her. Jo tells Warren that she slept with Levi because she always gets with guys who hurt her. Ben tells her that it's not her fault. It's a nice moment. Bailey tells Jo that she's a powerful woman. Ben tells Alex that Jo's afraid that he could hurt her like he hurt DeLuca. Alex tells Jo that he found Paul and he's sorry that he did that. He says he would never hurt her because his dad was like that and he is not his dad. And they kiss. DeLuca is worried that Amelia is going to perform a surgery that won't work and that she's too obsessed with it. Owen talks to Amelia and says that she thinks that she needs help. She tells him that if he wants Teddy that badly, he can have her. Amelia takes a kid's jaw apart and calls Jackson out of Megan's surgery so that he can put it back together. Black Star, Amelia, chill out. The surgery is successful, but Jackson says that Amelia was just lucky. April asks Jackson what they are after the sex they had in Montana, and she says that she needs to move out. Arizona finds out that Karina is DeLuca's sister. DeLuca walks out, and they continue hooking up. The next day, Arizona and DeLuca see Karina talking with Bailey. Karina is an OB and she wants to do a study on female orgasms. She wants women to masturbate in an MRI machine to study their brain activity. And Bailey approves because she's an icon. Karina tells Bailey, Amelia, and Maggie that she's looking for volunteers. She flirtily shows Arizona the scans. Oh my god. She is so fucking hot. Amelia says that she'll volunteer. DeLuca sees the scans and gets concerned. Amelia comes out and sees some scans and says, "Whoa, that's a beautiful tumor. Whose brain is that?" It's her brain. Remember? I remember. This is a great storyline. Episode 3, the hospital is all fixed up post-explosion. It's been a week since Amelia found out that she has a tumor. The only people who know are the DeLuca siblings. Amelia has a neurohead from Hopkins come to check out her tumor, and his name is Tom Karasik. Let's put him on the wall. He says that her decision-making and impulse control have been compromised and have been for years, which would explain a lot of things. Amelia tells Weber she doesn't want anyone else to know. Karasik says that he can remove Amelia's tumor and cover her service. He questions whether Nicole Herman going blind was because of the tumor or not. DeLuca tries to subtly show Maggie the scans, but she doesn't get it. Karasik doesn't get how they didn't notice her being impulsive, and Weber tries to relate Amelia by showing her his brain tumor that Derek removed, and she makes fun of him for how small it is. Amelia starts spiraling about every case that she's done in the past few years. He tells her that her mortality rate is less than Derek's, and he didn't even have a tumor. He tells her that she's not hurting her patients, but she's hurting her loved ones. Let's give a gold star to Weber for that. Amelia shows Maggie her tumor. She's sad that she waited a week to tell her. Amelia is going to tell Owen, and she wants Maggie to tell Meredith because Meredith thought that she was crazy for years, and this would make her right. Amelia calls Owen in, and he starts yelling at her till he realizes the scans on the walls are hers. Amelia gets checked in as a patient, and Mayor gets in bed with her. Megan is recovering well. Harper Avery is coming to the hospital. Boo, we hate this man. Bailey is very nervous about it. He is such a dick. He wants to pull the funding to the hospital. Bailey gives a very good speech as to why he shouldn't cut the funding. He says, "Fine, but you're fired." Catherine and Bailey go into the hallway to talk, and when they go back in, Harper Avery is dead. Jackson says that he can't fire Bailey anymore, and Jackson and Catherine give a speech to the staff, and Jackson says, "I take special comfort in knowing that he died doing what he loved." And Catherine says, "Unbelievable." is the word he used. Arizona is very obsessed with Karina. Girl, me too. Get in line. Get in line. Karina tells Arizona to help a birthing mother give birth faster by having her husband stimulate her. Meredith tells Nathan that she's wasting their dream by not fighting for Megan. Joe asks Alex to come back home with a homecoming sign after they treat a kid who got injured during a homecoming proposal. It's very cute. Episode 4, Amelia shaves part of her head for her surgery. Meredith asks if they should call her mom, and Amelia says, no, she didn't come for my wedding. She can't come for my tumor. Amelia's got every scenario planned out. She makes everyone do the superhero pose before surgery. Karasik plays music during surgery and doesn't answer any of DeLuca's questions. He stops singing when he has to clip the last vessel. Gold star for Karasik. When she wakes up, she's not reacting to them. As the day goes on, Amelia squeezes Meredith's hand. Weber asks Amelia if she wants opioid for pain relief, and she motions no. The gang wishes they had a tumor to blame all their stupid shit on. Amelia starts talking, but it's in French. Eventually, it goes back to English. She tells Meredith to call Derek. She has temporary amnesia. Karasik implies that he hooked up with Amelia when he was her teacher in college, so let's connect them. Amelia gets cleared to go home, but she's positive that something is wrong. She gets a bunch of scans. DeLuca convinces her that the only thing missing is her tumor, and that makes her feel better, so gold star to DeLuca. Amelia tells Owen that he doesn't have to be with her anymore because he married a tumor, and he wants her to come home. We also find out that Catherine and Karasik had history, so let's connect them as well. This is a very important connection on our wall because it finally brings this whole section connected to the other people on the wall. So now we can connect Meredith with Weber, or anyone over here with Weber, because Catherine slept with Karasik, and Karasik slept with Amelia. It's a whole connection. Now the only one who's not connected to the rest of the group is our darling Bailey. Speaking of, Weber and Bailey are interviewing the interns today. They are all very awkward and pathetic. I wrote in my notes that there is a funny line from Maggie and Jackson after Harper's funeral, so I will put it in because I don't remember what it is. Meredith is going to publish Megan's surgery, and she asks Jackson if she can take his name off of it because then she can't win a Harper Avery award. Joe will be in the article, but she gets worried when she finds out that the article needs a picture. She tells Meredith to take her name off of it. Joe tells Ben about Paul and asks for a secret in return, and he tells her that he's training for something in secret that Bailey will not be happy with. Meredith and Megan laugh about how they both sent Nathan to each other. Nathan calls Meredith to pretend to be Farouk's doctor so they can transfer him out of Baghdad. He wants to bring Farouk to Megan as a grand gesture. I think that's illegal, but gold star because that's cute. It's a very sweet moment when Megan and Farouk reunite. At the end of the episode, Sophia texts Arizona that she wants to move home, aka to New York with Callie. Episode 5, I wrote in my notes that I skipped this episode the first time I watched through Grey's Anatomy, so you're welcome that I'm watching it for you now. The reason I skipped it is mostly a flashback episode about Owen, Teddy, Nathan, and Megan in the army, which I don't care about. Megan finds a necklace in Nathan's room. It's a proposal necklace, and she says yes. Teddy recognizes the necklace as a different army person's necklace. She says it's engraved. Owen also kept Megan from getting promoted. Nasty. Nathan and Megan both find out that they cheated on each other. Sucks. We see the call where Owen tells Megan to get on the helicopter. The patient she's flying back with was one of the shooters that they were trying to stop. In present time, Megan is moving to LA with Nathan and Farouk. Owen is still mad that Nathan cheated on Megan, and she tells him that she cheated first. Megan tells Owen that he has to break up with Amelia, and when he gets back home, they break up. So now they have moved to LA, so Nathan's like pretty much gone from the show. Maybe like in the next episode he's still here, but I don't know. Episode 6, it's Amelia's first day back, and Karasik is heading out. Amelia stops him before he can go to help her with a surgery. He helps out, but says that she's better than him, and that pisses him off, and they hook up. Meredith makes the cover of a medical magazine. It's like a picture from a photo shoot from several seasons ago. I'll put the picture up. She's being very nice to Joe, and it's freaking her out. Joe is running for chief resident. She also asks for a judge patient for legal advice against her husband, but it doesn't look great. Jackson and Alex take a sick day to hang out on a boat that Jackson bought. Warren, Owen, and DeLuca join as well. Jackson refers to Maggie as his sister, but everyone says that they are not siblings. Ben tells the guys that he applied to the fire training academy and that he got in. Remember literally like 5 episodes ago, Ben's worst nightmare is fire? Because I remember. Oh, and I guess because Joe and Alex are broken up, we can remember Joe and Alex will be together forever, but I'm going to leave it up there just for now. But Ben says the only thing he's felt so confident about was marrying Bailey, besides doing this fire training program. There's a new intern mixer tonight. Weber is nervous because it's his first new class since getting his job back. Speech gets interrupted by the drunk boat crew. Owen flirts with Karina. Ew. I know she's bisexual, but stay away from her. Meredith comes down to the mixer and everyone claps for her. She has gotten nominated for a Harper Avery Award. But as we know, you can't win a Harper Avery Award if you work at a Harper Avery hospital, even if he's dead. So she is not very excited because she just lost a patient. Of the new interns, the important ones are Levi, Vikram Roy, Sam Bello, Dahlia Kadri, Casey Parker, and Taryn Helm. Let's put the ones who have pictures on the wall. Unfortunately, Kadri and Parker do not sleep with anyone, so they do not go up there. But they are two of my favorite interns from this class. You hate to see it. But also, when Sam and DeLuca see each other, it is clear that they have some history, so I will connect them as well. Sorry, my camera died when I was putting that up, but we put up Sam, Vic, Helm, and connected Sam and DeLuca. Did I? Nope, yep, she's connected. You'll never guess who Vic gets with, and honestly, you won't guess who Helm gets with, because they're not here yet. She's just all alone. Just a little lonely lesbian. We've been there. We've all been there. Owen and Karina hook up. Everyone boo. Everyone throw tomatoes. That's disgusting. Maggie, Arizona, and April treat a patient who shoved a gun in her vagina. Feminism? It goes off and hits another patient that Bailey is treating. I wrote in my notes, gun-gina. Okay. Karina and Weber compare stories of stuff that they've pulled out of people. As we know, Weber loves this. He has like that whole hall of horrors of stuff that he's taken out of people. Jackson wants to give half of his inheritance, which is over $1 billion, to Bailey so that she can make her own surgery competition like the Harper Avery Award, but not. And it's definitely not so that he can finally win something. This is a brief detour from the main series to go into Grey's Anatomy B-Team, which is a little mini-series of Emmy-nominated webisodes that follow the new interns. Here are the highlights. Levi lives with his mom. Vic is very loud and arrogant. Sam orders a double latte because Meredith orders a double latte. Bailey tells them about how one of the interns might get to scrub in today, and she gives her iconic 5 rules. Levi gets another patient stolen from him by Sam this time. Everyone calls Levi Glasses for dropping his glasses in the patient. Sam doesn't believe that Levi slept with Joe. No one should. Vic is super awkward with patients, very try-hard. He freezes when a patient starts crashing. Maggie assigns him to the code team so that anytime a patient crashes, he has to help. Weber tells Kadri that she is very competent for her first day. She wants to work with Meredith because of the Harper Avery nomination, and she promptly forgets how to find a patient's room number. Owen has Parker and Helm. Casey Parker is very formal with Owen because he was also in the army. Helm gets assigned to watch a transplant liver, and Parker gets to go to the OR with Owen. The interns debrief at the end of the day. Kadri says that she accidentally held Weber's hand, and no one got to scrub in. They all make fun of Levi for dropping his glasses in the patient. Moving on to episode 7, which is the 300th episode of Grey's Anatomy, and it's actually kind of good. Can't say the same for episode 400 because I just watched it and it was terrible. Meredith and Alex are riding a ferry. She is nervous about going to the Harper Avery Awards. She puts off going on the plane to help with a big trauma. Zola called it that Meredith would skip the awards to operate, and Zola tells Maggie that she's going to be a brain surgeon just like her dad. I hope so. I love Zola. Amelia walks in on Owen and Karina making out naked in the kitchen. Disgusting. How the fuck did he pull Karina? I'm so pissed off. Later, Amelia gets mad at Owen because he skips doing a head CT on a patient during a trauma. Black Star, you never skip the head CT. Do we not learn? Oh no. Who was this connected to? Oh Lord. Ooh. Who are you? That's Steph. Who does Steph get with? I don't know. I'm just gonna leave that there, and then I'll look through the footage later and figure that out. Amelia wheels a CT in during surgery. Owen was wrong. He did have a head injury. Gold star for Amelia. Bailey is mad at Warren because she has found out that Ben has applied to be a firefighter and that he's gonna be a firefighter. DeLuca and Sam have a very torrid relationship, it seems. Bailey catches the two of them having sex in the skills lab. That's nasty. Black stars. Sam's not like relevant enough to get a black star, so just DeLuca, but if she was, she would be getting one. A big trauma comes in. A roller coaster car fell off of the coaster. Two of the patients stuck in the car are very George and Christina. Their other friend is pregnant and is very Izzy. We even get the OG intro. I can't lie. It made me happy. I can't lie. They are second-year residents at Seattle Pres. Meredith tells them that they look like they're old friends, and that freaks them out. Fake Izzy has a tumor on her placenta, and she wants Alex to stay with her. They also freak out that Meredith and Jackson are helping them. They remove fake George from the coaster, but when they try to take fake Christina out, she starts bleeding out. Bailey gets sad when fake George talks about dying, but she tells Weber that she's crying because she's mad at Ben. Arizona talks about Mark to calm fake Izzy down during birth, and Weber says it's nice to save this version of O'Malley. Oh my god. After Meredith finishes operating on fake Christina, Bailey and Weber bring the Harper Averys to the OR so that Meredith can watch. Everyone gathers up in the gallery and watches, and Meredith wins! Who said you can't win a Harper Avery if you work at a Harper Avery hospital? That bitch is dead! Jackson gives a speech on her behalf. He mentions Lexi and Derek. Meredith looks up into the gallery and sees Ellis clapping for her. Why did this give me chills? It's a good episode. We get a classic intern hallway scene. They are all very tired. At the end of the day, Meredith and Alex kick the interns out of the hallway. Christina calls them on the phone. Not that we would ever hear her voice, but it happens. And Meredith and Alex drink champagne. Meredith's contact photo for Christina is her in her baseball uniform. That's so cute. I'll put a picture. Sophia is back with Arizona, and we see a nice framed picture of Arizona, Callie, and Sophia. Episode 8, I wrote, is a great episode. Meredith is giving an interview about her Harper Avery Award. She says she wants to win 3, despite her mom, and that the hardest part of winning is doing the interviews. Joe got chief resident, let's go! She wants the interns to be scared of her, but it's not working. That's because you're a little sweetie pie and I love you. DeLuca and Sam are fucking horn dogs. Bailey wants Weber to run her surgical contest, but he says that she only wants him to do it so that she can compete, but he agrees. Maggie is going to go on a Tinder date with a man named Clive. Amelia and Meredith make fun of his name. They do kiss eventually, so I'm going to put him on the wall for now, but I won't connect them just yet. Never mind, I just put him, in the same one as Ethan, because they kiss eventually, but he's there. All the monitors start flatlining even though no one is dying. They can't access the charts or records either. All the computers suddenly display a message. They have been hacked. This is so The Pit Season 2. To regain access to the records, the hackers want a bunch of Bitcoin or else they'll destroy all the hospital records. Bailey doesn't want anyone to panic. The FBI shows up, kind of stops all that. The IT guy says the amount of Bitcoin they want is equal to $20 million. Bailey wants to pay the money, but the FBI says that she can't. Weber has everyone using paper charts and write down everyone's vitals, and he shows them the old techniques for checking stuff. Gold Star, his Abbott sleigh. The power goes out. Meredith is in the middle of a surgery, and Levi panics. The power comes back on. Levi runs to go get blood, but he can't open the blood bank. They're locked out. Levi hooks himself up as a living blood bank. I'll give him a gold star for that. Hell yeah, Levi. Arizona and Karina help a woman give birth in the hallway. Ben could never. Maggie and Jackson are flying a patient in a helicopter when the patient starts shooting blood out. Joe is running around trying to figure out which nurse gave a kid which meds since she can't access the charts. Alex gives the wrong meds when Joe is trying to find out the meds, and Joe is about to run back when she gets on the elevator, and Paul is there. He says, "Hey, Brooke," or "It's Joe now, isn't it?" It's bad. Oh, it's bad. Oh my god. Ooh. Episode 9, Paul is there with his fiancée, Jenny. Let's put her on the wall and connect her to Paul. Joe is shell-shocked. He mentions something about Paul's lawyers receiving her papers. He wants to sign divorce papers. Paul asks Weber if he can help out at all with all the stuff going on. Alex sees him and gets pissed. He orders Helm to find Joe and bring her to him. Joe tells Weber that Paul is a liar. He goes into surgery with Meredith, and she also isn't happy to see him. She tells him that she is friends with Joe. He says that Joe isn't stable, and that she stole his money. Joe is watching from the gallery. Helm finds Joe and keeps her company. Meredith assures Joe that she doesn't believe anything that Paul said. Let's give a gold star to Meredith, and also for Joe for having to deal with this. Alex said that he should have killed Paul when he had the chance. Meredith stays with Joe to sign the divorce papers. Joe tells Paul that he doesn't deserve anything good and that he's a monster. He just smiles and walks out. She sees him walk away with his fiancée, and she says that she needs Arizona. Arizona distracts Paul, and Joe grabs his fiancée. She says that she can tell her anything, and she agrees that Paul was right about her going crazy. Joe tells her about Paul hitting her and gaslighting her. Joe gives her number to try to help her, since she's not ready right now. Paul comes back to threaten Joe because his fiancée told on her. Boo! Boo! It's okay. She's in an abusive relationship too. She just doesn't know what to do. Meredith calls security on him. He keeps Joe's number so that he can find her, and Meredith says that they'll get a restraining order. The hackers turn up the heat to 90 degrees, and they start sending patients away. Levi passes out from giving so much blood. Icon. Parker overhears that the blood bank is locked, and Bailey tells him to do whatever he can to unlock it since he has a background in cybersecurity from the army. Arizona and Karina are waiting in line to give blood, while in the background, Parker shocks the door to the blood bank and opens it. King, if he was relevant enough, I would give him a gold star. Bailey wants to know what else he can do. Parker says that he could do stuff, but he's not allowed to because he's hypothetically hacked a federal server, and she has him write down what to tell the FBI. He tells her that he hacked the DMV because his new license was taking too long for the gender marker to get changed. Trans icon. Bailey finds out more info from the FBI, and she lets Parker use her computer to hack the hackers back. Parker takes the hospital back over. Bailey asks Parker why he hacked the DMV, and it's because of the gender marker thing. That's right, he's the first trans doctor in Grey's Anatomy. Woo, it only took 14 seasons. Maggie and Jackson shower off the blood, but they don't have any scrubs because they can't access them, so they just have to hang out in towels together. I feel like there are other options, but they're about to have some flirty stuff, but then the scrubs get delivered to them, thank God. Jackson asks Maggie out, and she says no, and then her Tinder date, Clive, shows up, and they go out. Weber tries to pass off Bailey's competition to April by saying she needs to help, and she wholeheartedly accepts. The next day, Paul is in the ER from a hit and run, and Meredith asks Alex, "What did you do?" Episode 10, Meredith asks April if there's any suspects and tells her that she can't lose him. Like, she really can't lose him. Joe tells Meredith that they didn't have anything to do with it, that they think the fiancé did it. The fiancé thinks that Joe did it. The two of them band together against Paul. He wants to leave against medical advice. His fiancé says that she's going to report him to the police, and he says no one will believe her. He's a well-respected surgeon, and she's a nobody. She says she's not going to speak to him again unless it's from a witness stand. He calls her a stupid bitch, always a great thing for men to say, and tries to get out of bed, but he falls and hits his head, skill issue, and now he's brain dead. Idiot! Idiot! Let's put an X on him. Idiot. Joe has to decide whether to withdraw support because she is still legally his wife. She starts laughing hysterically and then crying. Joe and the fiancé talk about what to do, and they decide to have all of his organs donated. April realizes that Weber played her for the competition, and she tries to give it back to him, but he says no. He says, finders keepers, and April tries to pass it off to Jackson. April helps a woman give birth, and her husband arrives late. It's Matthew Taylor and his wife, Karen. Let's put her on the wall and connect her to Matthew. She's got a blood clot on her vagina post-birth that April has to treat. April and Matthew hash it out. Arizona has to operate on Karen, and April prays. She survives surgery, but then she starts crashing post-op, and she dies. Ooh, ooh. I think that's the fastest we've added someone and then killed them on the wall. April goes to drink at Joe's and ends up hooking up with Vic. Oh my god, she can do so much better, but let's connect them. A patient comes into the ER because he tried to cut off his hand to stop him from jerking off. They get Karina to talk to him. Maggie does a makeshift science camp for Tuck and his friend, and it's very cute. Gold star. It's Ben's first ride along with the fire department, and he brings in a kid who got shot for trying to break in to his own house, and the kid dies. Jackson tears into the cops, and Bailey and Warren give Tuck the talk. Episode 11 I wrote is a good episode. Bailey does not want to hear about Ben's firefighting trainee. She has Ben drop her off at Seattle Pres, and she tells the nurse that she thinks she's having a heart attack. She has the doctors do extensive tests, and they tell her that she's not having a heart attack. She has Weber take over her service for today, and she tells the doctors that they're not taking her seriously because she's a woman. She begs them for a cardiac stress test. Gold star for advocating for yourself. The doctor sees that she has OCD and doesn't want to run it. She asks for a second opinion. They send a psychiatrist down. She calls Maggie to come over. Bailey's neighbor in the ER starts choking. Weber also shows up to Seattle Pres, and Maggie and Weber lie that they're related to Bailey so that they can see her. Bailey saves her neighbor and then passes out. Maggie tears into the Seattle Pres chief because Bailey's EKG is clearly showing that she's having a heart attack. Bailey doesn't want to get transferred to Gray Sloan because everyone knows her there, and she starts having difficulty breathing. Maggie tears into the chief again because if they had done a cardiac stress test, they would have caught this. She argues about the procedure with him and makes him give her privileges so that they can do surgery. Gold star for Maggie. Before she goes into surgery, Bailey has Maggie call Ben. Catherine brings food for Ben and Weber while they wait. The surgery is a success. Bailey tells Ben that he should be a firefighter, and she asks Ben to build her a treehouse she can read in. And Bailey calls her mom. This episode is also intercut with scenes of baby Bailey with her mom. Baby Bailey is very cute, her mom is very overprotective, and Bailey gets into Wellesley and her mom is not very happy. This is a good episode. Episode 12, everyone is working very hard to come up with something to submit for this new surgery contest. Jackson's idea is spray on skin. Meredith, Alex, and Weber don't have any ideas. DeLuca and Sam are working with Amelia, and they can't stop flirting with each other. Maggie's pitch is changing heart pumps so that they can charge through the skin. Meredith comes up with an idea about growing mini livers, because sometimes the body can grow mini spleens. That's crazy. Meredith puts Joe on the paper with her. Bailey's idea involves butts. Arizona wants to lower the maternal birth mortality rate with Karina helping. Weber's idea is a pen that can identify cancerous tissue by the touch, and Amelia is using high frequencies to identify tumors. Meredith doesn't get the patent that she needs for her study. Everyone gets into the first round, except for Amelia and Alex. Bailey is on vacation. At least, that's what she's telling people. She's actually on bed rest from her heart attack, and she's making Levi bring her stuff. Catherine and her friend pitch a technique to make a better vaginoplasty to Jackson. My cat is scratching at the door. Jackson does not want to work on this with his mom, though. And Catherine says, "Jackson Avery, you are such a disappointment. I thought you were woke." Jackson tells Meredith that he doesn't want to do it because the surgery only affects 1% of the population. And Meredith is like, well, that's still 75 million people. Jackson changes his mind and makes this his proposal. Maggie is still going out with Clive, and they even kiss. Jackson calls him Chive. Maggie tells Weber that before her mom died, her mom told her to be more slutty, and I wish I could tell her how slutty I'm being, with tears in her eyes. Maggie and Weber are at a salsa class so that Weber can salsa with Catherine. That's cute. Episode 13, it's Bailey's first day back. Weber doesn't trust that she is ready to be back, and Bailey tells people that she had a heart attack so Weber will stop bothering her. Mare is waiting for a call from the patent holder in Madrid, and the call comes in when Meredith is helping out with a patient. This is our first crossover episode with Station 19, the new firefighting show that Ben is on. It got canceled after ABC acquired 911 because they were like, we don't need 2 firefighting shows, and also Station 19 is... I mean, I liked Station 19. I don't really like 911, but whatever. But I guess it's not as good to most people. Ben's coworker, Andy, is brought in because her hand is holding pressure in a patient. Andy and Meredith have more chemistry than Meredith has had with any man ever. I wish I could put it on the wall, but she doesn't sleep with anyone. I'll go through everyone who's in Station 19 that I can think of who is important. So obviously we have Ben, Andy, Pruitt, who is Andy's father and the chief at this time, Travis, Victoria, Dean, and Jack. I think that's everyone in Station 19. Meredith has Andy help during the surgery because Meredith can't access the heart with her hand there. Ben shows Andy to the OR gallery so that she can see if the patient survives. Let's give a gold star to Ben because that's cool. Andy takes Meredith's call from Madrid for her since she can speak Spanish. Weber kicks the two of them out of the gallery. Andy got the doctor to come out to Seattle, here out on Meredith's pitch, and Andy tells Meredith that she had a good time today. This is gay behavior. This is very gay behavior. Neither of them are gay characters, but like... And this is honestly more chemistry than Andy has had with some of her people on Station 19, so... Let Andy be bisexual, please. I know the show is over, but let her... She's bisexual to me. Alex and Amelia are having trouble with their case without funding from the contest, so Amelia calls Karasik to help. Sam almost catches on fire when they test out their laser. Karasik has great bedside manner with a kid patient, and they talk about musicals. Let's give him a gold star. Karasik thinks that the kid's case is hopeless, but Amelia yells at him, and he has a great realization about using multiple lasers. Alex also sings with the kid patient to make her feel better. Gold star for Alex. Kadri is helping a kid when he pulls glass out of his leg, causing it to bleed everywhere. Despite being in a hospital, surrounded by different things to stop this bleeding, Kadri takes off her hijab to stop the bleeding. What are we doing? Shonda! Krista, when I catch you! Owen gets her hijab washed and returns it to her, and she takes off the temporary one that she was wearing, put on her hijab in the middle of the hospital. Why wouldn't she go somewhere private? What are these writers doing? I'm gonna blame, I don't know if this is the area when there was like the Grey's Anatomy scam writer. I'm gonna blame her though. Jackson goes out on a date with a girl named Priya. Let's put her on the wall. The interns start calling April Dr. Party. Jackson makes Vic drain a gross abscess because he's bragging about sleeping with her. Later, Arizona sees April drinking and going crazy with the interns at Joe's. Weird look for April. Episode 14, Maggie and Clive are still hitting it off. Amelia says that she and Meredith should meet him to judge. They're gonna have a game night. Jackson's gonna bring Priya. April walks in and sees Jackson and Maggie together at the door and says, "Oh, you two are a thing now. Your parents must be proud." And then she laughs very hard. She might be drunk. Karasik comes too. They play charades and then Pictionary. April is being a real stickler for the rules. During the game night, Clive's wife shows up. And that signals the end of game night. But let's add her and connect her to Clive. Jackson leaves, breaks up with Priya, and then confesses his feelings for Maggie. Ew, and they kiss! Let's connect them too! Jackson and Maggie is one of my least favorite relationships on this show. I hate it. Joe and Meredith have a big success on their tests with mice with the mini livers, but they can't show the patent guy because then he'll drive the price up. Helm tells them that the patent guy is dead, actually, and that's why they've been stalling, so they're going to meet with his daughter. Meredith and Joe can't find any info about her, but when she comes, she knows Meredith, and Meredith calls her Auntie Marie. She was besties with Ellis. She tells Meredith that she's her mother's daughter, and she wants to help her, but she can't. Weber sees Marie and asks Meredith if Marie is less angry now. Meredith is confused, and Weber says that Marie hated Ellis. Meredith rushes home to look through Ellis's journal, and Meredith thinks that she has been played by Marie. A rugby team is in the ER, and they keep throwing their rugby ball around. The ball ends up hitting April accidentally, and she accidentally cuts a girl's ear off because of it. DeLuca then goes by to help, and Slee slips on the ear and hits his head. This is really funny. April has the ball thrower get treated by Levi. Bailey sends April home for the day because she didn't report the ear cutting. Black Star April. Owen takes over and then pushes a chair into one of the rugby players and pins him to the ground. Black Star, what the hell? Bailey and Weber watch the footage of April and DeLuca and laugh hysterically. Real.
There goes the ball. Oh, there goes the ear.
Arizona and Karina are doing research about the hospital's birth. Karina notices that one of the OBs does way more C-sections than any other doctor, which Karina says is a big deal, because C-sections are a big surgery. When Arizona confronts her, she accuses her of doing a witch hunt. Sam tells DeLuca that she loves him. Owen and Amelia hook up. And Alex fights to get his kid patient medical marijuana so that she doesn't need a feeding tube. Gold star for Alex. Episode 15, Meredith is going through Ellis's journal still. She finds out that Marie knew about Ellis and Richard. Meredith wonders if there was a secret love triangle involving Ellis and Marie. I wish. Meredith asks Marie why she didn't mention that she fell out with Ellis. Marie tells her that Ellis's second Harper Avery Award was for something that she and Marie came up with together, but Ellis took sole credit. Meredith says, "And I'm supposed to believe this?" Girl, what do you mean? We know Ellis sucks. Black Star. Ellis published their work solo before Marie was going to publish it together. She even shows Marie the duo paper that she wrote. Marie says that if she wants her patent, she needs to publish a statement that the Gray procedure is now the Gray-Cerrone procedure. Mara says that she can't do that without being able to hear her mom's side of the story, and Marie tells her that she'll take her progress she's made and call it the Cerrone method. April and Karasik hook up. Let's connect them. He's worried about how different April is from when they first met, and he figures out that she's having a crisis of faith. Karasik tells her about how he had his own crisis of faith when his kid died. Jackson asks Maggie to dinner, and she says no because she has a major surgery today and she needs to focus. Alex is acting weird with Joe after he finds out that she's applying to a bunch of different schools for a fellowship. She says that she's excited to have more opportunities because she doesn't have to be worried about Paul anymore. Alex said, "I didn't realize he was the only thing keeping you here." Alex goes home and tries to find his ring to propose to Joe, but she's wearing it. They're gonna get married! Yay! We get some flashback scenes of Alex in high school. The guy playing Alex in high school looks 35. He has to help his mom when she forgets to take her meds. We get some Joe flashbacks too of her living in her car. Her car's about to be towed when some guy pays her tickets for her, and they hook up. His name is Chris Cleaver, which is a real serial killer name, but let's put him on the wall and connect him to Joe. We also see baby Maggie in medical school, way younger than everyone else. Her cadaver partner is played by Celebrity Alert Matt Bennett from Victorious. Episode 16, Owen and Amelia are still hooking up. I hate this. Owen says that he likes them being casual, but he's worried that the other shoe will drop. Like Amelia saying that she wants kids and then not wanting kids. Amelia is like, I had a tumor, right? Owen says she can't blame everything on the tumor, and she's like, I kinda can. Plus, I never cheated on anyone when I had a tumor. Gold star. Owen says that he's cheated before, but that doesn't make him a cheater. Amelia says, tomato, tomato, potato, adulterer. He's like, you told me to go to Teddy. What was I supposed to do? And she's like, well, you could have been like, hey, Amelia, that's crazy. Maybe you have a tumor. Amelia tells Owen that Teddy is his tumor, and she thinks that he's in love with her. Owen gets a taxi to the airport. The interns are doing their trauma cert today with Owen. April joins as well, and she is very tough on them. She has DeLuca pretend to be a victim too. April sprays them all with a hose because it rained during her trauma cert. All the interns start yelling at each other in different languages out of stress. April gets paged away and says, there's no crying in trauma cert. After she leaves, Owen is like, it's okay. She's gone. This is funny, but I'll give her a black star because girl. Parker was the one who paged April away so that they could all save their patients. DeLuca says it's just like when April cheated on her trauma cert with the ambulance. April laughs and says that a couple months after she did that, a car crash patient came in and she couldn't save him because she cheated her trauma cert. She is losing it. Jackson asks her what's wrong, and she kisses him. He just wants to talk to her. She walks out. Catherine and Weber see Jackson and Maggie kissing. Them minus Maggie are supposed to do the new vaginoplasty today, but they keep fighting, which the patient hates. Meredith is packing up their research. Joe tries to look into other polymers that they can use, but Meredith has given up. Maggie thinks that she herself is proof that Ellis could lie about stealing research because she lied about having another kid. Joe convinces Meredith that they shouldn't give up. Arizona brings Sophia to work because she's missing New York, and Bailey decides to name her colonoscopy device the Trailblazer after one of the patients that she has. Episode 17, Owen arrives in Germany to visit Teddy. He tells her that he is single, and they kiss. Ugh. Did I ever connect Owen and Teddy? Oh my god, I don't think I did. Let's connect them. Meredith interacts with a transplant doctor named Nick Marsh. I need to print out a picture for him. So next season, there will be a picture of Nick somewhere. But he's there. He had a kidney transplant on himself 5 weeks ago, and he passes out. They have some good banter. He tells her about how he took in his sister's kid. Let's remember that. They bond over lost loved ones and how they got into their specialties. They talk about what they would do if they weren't doctors. Nick jokes that this is a first date. She gets his lab back, and they are inconclusive, and she finds out that he has a clot, and they rush him to the OR, and she saves him. Gold star for Meredith. April is really mean to Bailey when one of her patients has a bad reaction to antibiotics. Black star for April. The patient overhears. Yikes. He tries to get her to open up about her personal life troubles. They talk about faith. She pretends to be his wife. Well, he dies in her arms. Jesus. Teddy is laughing about the fact that Owen is in her bed in Germany. They both imagined this happening at some point. Man, I do not care about them together. I kind of hate it, actually. She wants to know why he's there. He says that he wants to be with her. Later, he talks about how his marriage with Amelia was a mistake, and she told him to just go to Teddy. She's upset that he didn't realize that himself, and also that she told him this while they were having sex the night before. She tells him that he doesn't want her, he's just scared of being alone. He says that she is scared of being happy and brings up Henry. She says, never bring up Henry. She says that all he does is hurt her, and she doesn't want to be his fallback or his sloppy seconds. She says that she is done with him, and she kicks him out. Thank you, Teddy. Episode 18, Owen is back from Germany. Amelia tells Owen to call Teddy. He doesn't want to, so she calls her from Owen's phone, and it does not go well. Arizona bashes Owen for double dipping in 24 hours. April has been going to the hospital chapel. She apologizes to Karasek for being so mean to him and just using him for sex. He says he likes being used for sex, and apologizes to Owen too, and he forgives her. She apologizes to Parker, and he's like, oh, it's fine, I just assumed you were having a nervous breakdown. She apologizes to Jackson. Crisis of faith over. She says that even when it felt like God wasn't there, Jackson was. She apologizes to Maggie, and tells her about sleeping with Vic Karasek and how she jumped Jackson in the closet, something that Jackson did not tell Maggie. Meredith and Joe's mice are not living without Sarone's polymer, but at the end of the episode, one of the mice does live without the polymer. Weber's friend from AA from an earlier season gets brought in by Ben. She wants Meredith and Maggie to assure her that Weber won't get drunk if she dies. Weber brings Amelia to have a meeting with her. Amelia, Alex, and Karasek are doing their first laser surgery. Amelia is nervous and does the superhero pose. After the surgery, Amelia throws up. They don't know if the surgery was a success yet, but the kid wakes up and he's fine. So gold stars all around for Amelia, Karasek, and Alex. Amelia and Karasek don't want to do the surgery on Alex's other kid patient. He gets super mad and pushes Karasek into a desk. So, black star for Alex. You just got one and now I have to take it away. Owen and Arizona treat a lesbian couple that are Arizona's patients. One of the women has cancer, but Owen gets scans for her and they find out that she doesn't. He has Levi get her records from the other doctor, but they are not helping. Owen thinks this doctor is scamming them. They go to the doctor and say they're a married couple, and don't say they're doctors, and they get a scan by him, and they see a lesion on Arizona's breast. They head back to their hospital to do another scan, and when April scans her, she's fine. He faked the ultrasound. That's crazy. Arizona says they need to destroy this doctor. Owen goes to the doctor's office after hours to talk to him. He tries to inject him with chemo treatment, but stops because the police show up to arrest the doctor. No stars because he was right because he got arrested, but that was crazy. Sam finds out that DeLuca has been living at the hospital because Arizona and Owen were both sleeping with Karina, and Sam asks him to move in with her. Episode 19, Arizona wants to do a double date with DeLuca, but Karina says no. Maggie is giving Jackson the silent treatment. They make up at the end of the episode, though. God, I hate them together. Did they run out of male characters to put with Maggie, or what? What's happening? Matthew brings his baby for Arizona to look at her, but he says he wants another doctor because it reminds him too much of his wife. April is worried about him. April figures out what's wrong with Jackson's baby, Gold Star. Matthew sees April at the chapel, and they sit together. An ICE agent comes in to talk to Bailey about one of the interns. Meredith pulls Sam away. She's a dreamer, and she could only get deported if she breaks the law. Meredith and Bailey say that that's good then, because the agent wants to talk to her. Sam says, no, this happened to one of her friends, and when ICE talked to her, she got deported. Bailey tells the agent that Sam is in surgery and will be for a while. He says he will wait. Meredith tells DeLuca and Sam that they should get married. DeLuca says, yes, they should get married. Sam says, that doesn't work for dreamers. Meredith says, thank God, because DeLuca's proposal was embarrassing. The agent tells Bailey that if she is lying about where Sam is, she could go to jail. She notices that he has some health troubles. Joe tells Sam about a guy she knows who can fake Sam's death, but Sam doesn't want to do that. Bailey gets an EKG for Maggie, and Maggie thinks there's something wrong with the guy's heart. DeLuca accuses Karina of calling ICE on Sam. That's a crazy accusation, and she is rightfully pissed. The agent needs heart surgery that Maggie can do today. Bailey asks the agent to just tell her if Sam broke the law, and she ran a red light. Meredith gets Sam on a plane to Zurich. She has been accepted to Christina's hospital program. Gold star for Meredith. DeLuca wants to go with her, but she says that he can't, and she leaves. So that's the end of Sam. Not very long. And unfortunately, very timely from a season that is almost 10 seasons ago. I hate the state of the country. Amelia talks to another neurosurgeon who's doing similar research with lasers. She seems receptive to talking until Amelia says that she works at a Harper Avery hospital. Then the other surgeon promptly hangs up. Jackson talks to her, and she says that she signed an NDA and can't talk about anything related to Harper Avery. He asks Catherine about it, and she says it was about research. Jackson talks to the Foundation lawyers to get them to waive the NDA, which stuns Catherine. Catherine tells Weber that Jackson has just ruined them. Arizona has a Gray's revelation about how to help a woman postpartum to prevent death. She sets up a cart with everything she needs for complications, and it ends up saving a mom, a gold star. Joe tells Alex that she wants kids with him, but she wants to take his last name. Weber's sponsor dies. Owen goes to a foster agency to start doing foster care with the purpose of fostering to adopt. Finally, he does something good. Episode 20. This is the weed cookie episode. All of the attendings are giving their presentation for April's surgery contest. Arizona brought cookies from her lesbian patients to give and hands them out to everyone. Pretty much everyone has one except for Meredith, Joe, and Weber. The lesbian patients page Arizona and say they need the cookie back because those are weed cookies. Weber shows off his path pen, which impresses everyone. Jackson and Catherine present their vaginoplasty and are clearly high. April starts laughing hysterically. Meredith gets up and postpones the talk and asks who ate of any of the cookies. She says anyone who ate them needs to get treated because they were accidentally tainted with rat poison. She gathers everyone up and tells them it's not rat poison, it's just weed. Arizona says that she scared her, and Meredith's like, Arizona, you knew they were weed cookies. Meredith tells them to stay in the conference room, no medicine for them today, and takes their phones. Maggie leaves the room, and Arizona and DeLuca follow her. Maggie is freaking out because she's never been high before. Maggie says she wants cheese. Arizona thinks she's moving too fast with Karina. DeLuca is laying on the floor pretending he is with Sam. Maggie asks Arizona about Karina, and Arizona accidentally calls her Callie. Bailey pages Meredith when she's in the OR, and it's really funny. Meredith tells her that this is her brain on drugs. When Bailey leaves the OR, she accidentally slams Meredith's finger in the door, bruising them so she can't operate. She has to have Joe scrub in. She can't figure out how much stomach to resect, and she wants to borrow Weber's path pen. Bailey goes to sit with April, and she tells Bailey that she heard something that she shouldn't have heard. She says it's the end of an era. Bailey says, I thought marijuana was supposed to make people peaceful, but I don't think I've hated you more. They sit on the couch as it spins around. April says that she always wanted a Harper Avery. She had a Jackson Avery, which isn't the same. April says she also knows that Jackson and Maggie are together. She has her own secret. She's been seeing someone too. Bailey says that her Trailblazer has been bought by a sex toy company. She got the idea because Meredith calls it the Tailblazer. Meredith comes in to check on them, and they're making music with their noses. They're holding a funeral for the Harper Avery Foundation. Catherine tells Jackson that the NDA he waived wasn't about research. It was a sexual harassment settlement. There were 13 women who had to sign NDAs, which April overhears. Jackson realizes that Catherine was the one who covered up the harassment. Black Star, Jesus. Catherine says they'll get in contact with the women and make it right. Meredith comes in and asks them what's going on. The women were offered money in exchange for silence and never working at a Harper Avery hospital or competing for the reward. And Marie Cerrone was one of the women, and that's why Ellis didn't credit her, because she couldn't have won a Harper Avery award. She just gets more terrible by the minute. Catherine and Jackson go to leave and see the news reporting. Breaking the news. Owen is getting a foster kid, but he is freaking out because he says he's not ready. He asks Amelia to help. Amelia finds Alex in the neurolab being silly. Amelia brings Alex with her to Owen's. The social worker brings over the baby, and his name is Leo. Here's a photo. Alex impresses her by saying that he is head of pediatrics. Meredith gets the interns excited about doing more work while the attendings are high by making it a contest. Whoever does the most work gets to scrub in with her later. Vic lies and says that he didn't eat one of the weed cookies. He goes in to help a patient but freaks out and backs into a crash cart and gets stabbed by a scalpel. Weber fires Vic after finding out that he lied about eating a cookie. That's a really silly sentence. out of context. Episode 21. The episode starts with DeLuca singing and playing the guitar in Italian. He's staying at Meredith's house. Arizona sends Karina to yell at him to get off Meredith's couch. Meredith packs up her and Ellis's Harper Avery awards to return them. She gets hounded by reporters on her way to work. Bailey tells Jackson to pull the plug on the surgery contest because if anyone found out that Harper Avery's grandson secretly funded a surgery contest so that he could enter, it would make them look even worse. This is how Maggie found out that Jackson funded the contest. She tells April and is like, wow, I can't believe you do this because Jackson asked you to. And she's like, what? He's the donor. She calls Weber slimy. Catherine calls Jackson into a meeting with a crisis manager. Weber interrupts the meeting to talk to Jackson about funding the contest, which Catherine also did not know. The crisis manager wants Jackson to operate on a child as a PR stunt and to operate with Meredith. The manager wants them to go after the woman who broke the NDAs, which everyone says no to. Catherine says that she could take the fall because she oversaw the NDAs, but Jackson says no, he doesn't want a black woman to take the fall for something that a rich old white guy did. Catherine says it's not his decision. I get it, but also she actively covered it up. So. Jackson asks Meredith to be in on his surgery, and she is not interested until she sees the kid. He's got a huge mass on his face. The foundation that brought the kid to them backs out, and they don't want him to get a surgery done at a Harper Avery hospital. Meredith says they don't like the name either, but Meredith says that Jackson is the best shot they have, and it won't be associated with his name if they do the surgery pro bono. Jackson is really worried about the foundation going down because then 72 hospitals would close, with thousands losing their jobs. He thought Meredith would understand since they were both raised by difficult parents, and Meredith is like, do not compare Ellis to Harper Avery, and he says he was comparing Ellis to Catherine. During surgery, Jackson says that they should reach out to the women and apologize and write them checks. Meredith says that they should rebuild the whole foundation so it has no association with Harper. The surgery is a success. Meredith and Jackson show Catherine their idea, the disillusionment of the Harper Avery Foundation, giving voice to the women affected and rehiring them, and renaming the foundation the Catherine Fox Foundation. Joe and Alex are looking at wedding locations, and Bailey encourages it to boost morale. April says that she can help because she planned the hell out of her wedding. Alex checks his bank account to budget, and he freaked out. He's freaked out because he has too much money. He sends checks to his mom in the mail, and she hasn't been cashing them, so he's worried about her. Ooh! A Nurse Olivia sighting. She is in the ER with her son, who swallowed a chew toy. Alex treats her, and she is not happy to see him. She is very mean to him, and she tells Joe best of luck when she finds out they're engaged. She tells Joe that Alex cheated on Izzy with her. Joe is like, girl, that was years ago, get over it. Owen brings Leo to a checkup and runs into his mother in the waiting room. She is a teenager, and her name is Betty. Here's a photo, celebrity alert. She is in that one show from a while ago on Netflix with Sydney Sweeney. Everything Sucks. Is that the show? I don't know. She's in stuff. It is a super awkward interaction. Amelia is nice to her when she's anxious about seeing Leo. Amelia asks her how long she's been using, and when she says it's just allergies, Amelia is like, yeah, I had allergies for a while too. 2 years ago, Betty tore her ACL and was prescribed painkillers and got hooked. Amelia tells Weber that she's thinking about taking her in, and he encourages her to do so. Owen tells Amelia that she can stay with them while she takes in Betty, since Meredith probably wouldn't be thrilled about a teenage drug addict living with her kids. Betty agrees to move in with her, and Amelia sets up some ground rules. Let's give Amelia a gold star. At the end of the episode, Vic sues Bailey for getting fired. Episode 22, Alex and Joe are going on a road trip to Idaho to see his mom. They get to her house, but she is not home. A neighbor tells them that she is working at the library, and his mom seems fine. Her meds have helped her, and she just needs to keep a strict routine. She doesn't want to see him because it's upsetting her. Joe takes Alex to a batting cage to get his anger out. He says it's nice that she's better, but he is angry because why couldn't she be better when he was a kid? He goes back to the library to talk to her and says that he is happy for her. He introduces her to Joe. They invite her to the wedding, but she says travel is very hard for her routine. Amelia stays home with Betty to help her detox. Betty is very mean to her, but Amelia doesn't take it personally. Betty runs away. Amelia goes to a meeting and talks about how doctors can accidentally cause addictions. Bailey goes around to make sure that they were justified in firing Vic. Vic's lawyer brother basically just wants her to apologize to him, but Bailey doesn't want to. Weber says that they should apologize because even though Vic was high, he didn't operate, unlike himself, who has knowingly operated while drunk. She can't think of any reasons why they were justified, and she tries to apologize, but instead says that he was lucky to learn from great doctors like her, and she's made mistakes, but firing him wasn't one. But she says that he can come back on a 1-year probationary period, and he accepts. Helm has a crush on Meredith. Kadri says Meredith is straight, and Helm says, "Ever hear her talk about Christina Yang? That's what I have been saying for years." Meredith talks to reporters about the foundation when she sees Marie Cerrone. She hides out at Joe's and sees a reporter who asks her if she is here for Meredith Gray's presentation, and she says she is. They play darts because he realizes that it is Meredith. He says that she wasted years of his life. He was going to do an abdominal wall transplant before Meredith did it right before him. Meredith gives her talk and makes a statement at the beginning crediting Marie Cerrone for the creation of the Gray method, and it'll now be known as the Gray-Cerrone method. Marie thanks Meredith after the meeting and asks to talk, but Meredith says that she said all she needs to say. Sophia stole $1,200 from her class field trip fund to buy a plane ticket to go to New York to see Callie. She didn't want Arizona to know because she didn't want to hurt her feelings. Arizona and Karina fight about Arizona not punishing Sophia, and I think they break up, maybe. Arizona calls Callie and tells her that she needs Sophia to come back to New York and that maybe she needs to go with her. Arizona also has good bedside manner with a patient who is scared of surgery, Gold Star. Jackson has been paying the personal settlements himself instead of using foundation money, and he sets aside some money for Harriet in case he loses the rest of the money, and April commends it. Gold Star Jackson. Episode 23, April sends out Alex and Joe's wedding invites, and Joe has Alex trying different cakes. Betty shows back up at Owen's. She tells Amelia that she is 6 days clean. She takes Amelia with her to work so she won't try to run again. Amelia and Arizona have a difficult case together. It's Herman! She's been having headaches and dizziness. She wants to catch up with Arizona, but she is not thrilled about it. Arizona tells her that she's going back to Peds when she goes back to New York, and Herman is not happy. Amelia is worried that she's going to have to tell Herman that she had a tumor when she operated on her. Arizona shows Herman her pregnancy cart, which impresses her. She tells her not to quit fetal surgery. She says that hearing about Arizona's successes have really helped her when she was struggling with not being able to operate anymore. Amelia and DeLuca can't find anything on Herman's scans, but Amelia still wants to tell her about the tumor. Amelia refers Herman to Karasik to do a shunt, and Herman reveals that she already knew that Amelia had a tumor. She overheard a phone call that Tom had after the two of them had sex, so let's connect them. Herman tells Arizona she got a grant and she wants to start a fetal center with her. Herman teaches fetal surgery and Arizona performs it, and they could call it the Robbins Herman Center. Arizona asks if they can do it in New York, and Herman says that they can do it anywhere. Betty tells Amelia that she lied. She's not 6 days clean. She was just cold. Amelia says she knows and takes her to a meeting. Arizona tells Bailey that she's quitting soon. Ugh. Bailey says it was one of the great privileges of her life to work with and know her, and Weber is mad that Arizona is leaving. When is he not mad that people leave? Matthew Taylor is in the ER. He rolled his car. Bailey sends Vic to tell April, and Matthew says, "April is here? She was in the car with him when they crashed." Owen has the EMTs go back out to the crash site. It rolled off of a cliff, and at the bottom, they see April half submerged in a river. They bring her in, and she is blue. Meredith repeats a similar line that was said about her. She is not dead till she's warm and dead. Meredith says that she doesn't think April will die because this happened to her, and she was in way worse condition. Maggie has them working really hard to restart her heart. Meredith says they can't tell Jackson until they know what's going on. Weber is operating on Matthew, and he starts crashing. They've been doing CPR on April for an hour. Maggie wants to put her on bypass. Meredith runs to get more help and finds Alex, who says he has to try some cake with April. Does she want to come? And Meredith bursts into tears. Meredith and Alex do compressions in between Maggie operating. Alex says that he didn't like April at first because she was everything that he wished he was. Meredith says, stop talking in the past tense. Jackson gets out of surgery and overhears that April is in surgery. He rushes in and hears that April's been down for 3 hours. Owen tells everyone that they should pray because it's what April would want. Maggie thinks that she sees a rhythm and shocks April, and they bring her back. Matthew gets out of surgery. When he wakes up, he immediately asks for April. Amelia isn't sure about April's brain function, and Arizona says that they, Matthew and April, have been seeing each other in secret for months now, and that they're in love. Everyone waits by April's bedside for her to wake up. Eventually, they give Jackson the room to himself. Emmy moment for Jackson. He prays for April to wake up. She squeezes his hand, and she wakes up. She's fine, neurologically. She says to Owen, "You always come and bring me back." Jackson goes to daycare and hugs Harriet, and Bailey brings Matthew to April. Episode 24, it's time for Joe and Alex's wedding. Arizona is helping Alex prepare, and she looks so fun. She's leaving today after the wedding. Joe comes over and tells Alex that she got a fellowship at Mass Gen. Mare insists that they're going to have bad luck seeing each other. Meredith offers Joe a general attending position at Gray Sloan so she doesn't have to leave. Joe goes to see Alex in her wedding dress and is mad at him for telling Meredith to offer her this job. And Alex is like, I did not tell her to do that. He says he'll support her for whatever she decides to do. They make out and run off to go hook up somewhere. They find a shed, and Alex kicks down the door. They go to leave after, but they are locked in the shed. Alex breaks a window open, and the light shines in and reveals a skeleton in there with them. Betty gets her 30-day chip. Let's go. Bailey got her first check from the Trailblazer, and it is a lot. Boki is at the wedding. Yay! April quit. No, dude, no. Everyone is at the chapel and unfortunately realize as the bride is walking down the aisle that they are at the wrong wedding. Everyone goes to leave, but the mom of the bride passes out. Bailey and Ben help out. Bailey is stressed trying to find a heart surgeon, and then Teddy shows up. Teddy asks Bailey if they have any job openings, and Bailey tells Teddy that she wants to take a sabbatical from being chief and offers her interim chief. DeLuca is drinking with the interns at the actual wedding. Helm gets really drunk and says she's gonna confess her love to Meredith, but Karina stops her. She looks lovingly at Arizona. Arizona mentions to April that she and Callie are both single now. DeLuca gives a really drunk toast. Meredith pulls him away. She tells him that he'll find love again, and he kisses her. Let's connect them. Meredith is like, girl, that is not what I meant, but thanks. They find Alex and Joe in the shed. Meredith is acting weird, and Amelia thinks that she is in love with Alex. Meredith shuts that down. She says that Amelia is the only one with secret feelings. Amelia asks if she's secretly in love with Joe. God, I wish. Meredith says that Amelia is falling in love with Owen again, and she just doesn't want to be alone without Alex. Even Betty asks Owen what's going on with him and Amelia. Matthew and Jackson have an awkward interaction. Matthew says he wants to hit him, but he's a Christian. Jackson says, would it make you feel better to find out that I just lost $250 million? And Matthew says, yes. Yes, it would. The wedding planner has an allergic reaction, and her throat starts closing up. They have to crike her, and Levi passes out, knocking over the wedding cake. The wedding is postponed. Meredith apologizes to Joe for offering her the attending position, and that she's proud of her for getting the fellowship. Matthew proposes to April, and she says yes. The wedding officiant finally shows up. Callie's cover of The Story starts playing, and April and Matthew get married. Meredith becomes an ordained minister on a ferry boat, and marries Alex and Joe. At the end of the episode, Teddy tells the mom from the first wedding that passed out that she's pregnant. And that is the end of season 14. Kind of decent. I like the Amelia Toomer storyline. I like her with Betty. My favorite episodes were Cold as Ice, and then I didn't write the actual titles for the episodes, but episodes 7, 8, and 11, I'll put the titles on screen. My favorite characters were April, Joe, and Meredith, and this is the last season with April and Arizona as main characters. They're gone now. They both got fired on International Women's Day. Isn't that great? So here's the wall so far. We killed some people, we added some people, we got some connections. Let's move on to season 15. All right, we're back. Season 15. And I printed out a picture of Nick Marsh, so let's put him on the wall. I actually did already have one printed out of him, but I think it is too small for how relevant he becomes. Spoiler as a character, but we only saw him the one time, and you'll never guess who he connects to based on his placement on the wall. So, let's start season 15. Episode 1, the season opens with Meredith and DeLuca in bed together. Just kidding. It was a dream. I had you fooled, and so did Grey's Anatomy. And then Jackson shows up. Just kidding, it's another dream. Karasik is there too, but not sexually, he's just like hanging out. Later, in real life, not dream world, Karasik says to Meredith, do you think the others can sense our sexual tension? And Meredith says, don't you think I would be able to sense it? Get his ass. That was really good. DeLuca apologizes to kissing Meredith, and a matchmaking patient tries to set them up. Her name is Cece. She calls herself the Eunice of Love. I'll put up a picture because she's kind of like a reoccurring character this season, but she does not kiss anyone, unfortunately, so no wall. Jackson senses a vibe between Meredith and DeLuca. Joe and Alex are at the beach for their honeymoon. Joe still isn't sure if she's going to go to Boston or if she's going to stay in Seattle. Alex tells her that he'll go wherever she is, and she gets a Grey's revelation while building a sandcastle. She comes up with something that can cure cancer and kill cancer cells. Teddy knocks on Owen's door, and Betty answers, confusing. She is shook. She sees them at the hospital later and is super uncomfortable. Amelia asks Owen if he's still hung up on Teddy, and then says, you know what? Don't answer that. When Teddy goes to leave, she starts having pain in her leg, and she asks Parker for Maggie. Teddy is shocked by how young Maggie is. She tells her that she's 11 weeks pregnant, and she's 95% sure that she has a blood clot in her leg, and she wants Maggie to confirm the diagnosis so that she can fly home. Maggie realizes that Owen is the father of Teddy's baby. Maggie explains the complexities of her sisterhood with Amelia, and Teddy and her hospital roommate are very confused by this. Teddy leaves against medical advice, and Maggie wants to tell Jackson about it, but she isn't sure if that would break HIPAA or not. Finally, a good decision! Bailey has hired a new ortho god. He was a personal surgeon for the Seattle Mariners, and the hospital is also about to have a new state-of-the-art barrack chamber, so a bunch of new things going on here. Teddy ruins the mood by turning down the interim chief position, and Amelia pitches herself as interim chief, but her pitch is really messy. Weber wants him to, and so does Owen. Link says, well, we don't know who that is yet. I guess in my notes I never put an actual introduction, so one sec. Here are our new ortho doctors. We have Atticus Lincoln, who is the attending, and Nico Kim, who is his fellow, I believe. Let's put him on the wall. Now that we have that out of the way, Link says that he would never want to be chief. DeLuca, Maggie, and Jackson are walking to work when they almost get hit by a car. DeLuca pulls them out of the way, and they see a biker get hit. The biker's legs are all tangled up in the, spurs of the tire in their bike. That's unfortunate. The driver is the matchmaker patient from earlier and tells the biker that she'll find a match for her. The ortho boys come in. This is a perfect opportunity for them. And during surgery, Nico winks at Levi. Could there be romance in the air? Weber shows Karina and DeLuca a patient with something stuck up his butt. Karina gives them all a lesson about the G-spot, and Vic is very intrigued. Weber has Karina talk to the patient until he tells them what's up his butt, and he says it's hair stuff, which Vic thinks is shampoo. When they operate, Weber sees that it's a hard object. Vic tries to cauterize a vein, even though Weber tells him not to, and the bottle catches on fire. It was not shampoo, it was hairspray. Vic's arm catches on fire, and DeLuca puts it out, but the patient dies. If Vic was relevant enough, that would be a black star. Karasik gives Amelia advice about her and Owen, and we get some Karasik lore that his wife left him for another man because he didn't fight for her. Link bumps into Meredith and introduces himself, but she says no and walks away. Jackson has his own crisis of faith because DeLuca saved his life, and because when April almost died, he prayed and she woke up. He's freaking out that he believes in something, and he kind of proposes to Maggie about it, and she swerves it. Amelia tells Owen that she has feelings for him, and they kiss. Ooh. Episode 2, Meredith has more sex dreams about DeLuca, and this time Link joins. I think she should challenge them, personally. Jackson tells her that she's married to her work, but she doesn't think so. The matchmaker, Cece, clocks Helm for being in love with Meredith, and Link asks Meredith out, but she says no, and Meredith asks Cece for help. Amelia and Owen try to hook up, but Leo starts crying, cock-blocked. She goes to Meredith to tell her and Maggie, and she tells Maggie that she should tell Jackson that she's not ready to get married, but Maggie says that she can't do that. Amelia tells Owen that they shouldn't be reckless around the kids. Cece and the biker have a cute moment, and then Cece codes. Jackson brings her back. The biker starts coding. Jackson says it's going to be a long night. They both survive the night, and the biker has necrotizing fasciitis. Jackson wants to operate in the hyperbaric chamber, but the patient doesn't make it, so they just have to wait for the chamber to depressurize with the body, and they're with them. That's unfortunate. Bailey also shows Link the hyperbaric chamber, and says that the pressure of the chamber can decrease healing time, which is good. Joe and Alex are back early from their honeymoon. Joe tells Meredith about her cancer cell idea, and she asks Meredith to create a fellowship for her so that she can stay in Seattle and work on this idea together. Bailey says that they don't have the money for it, and Joe says that they can't go to Boston because she already turned the job there down. Girl, so now she doesn't have a job anywhere. She shows her notes to Bailey, and she approves the fellowship, except Bailey is going to be running it, not Meredith. Joe will be her fellow, and she says to take it up with the chief, who is Alex. That's right, Alex is interim chief. Could you believe it from season 1 that he would be chief of the hospital? That's crazy. Levi brings up Jackson proposing to Maggie, and he's like, what? I didn't propose. Oh God, she thinks I proposed. Nico buys Levi a drink at Joe's, and DeLuca buys a motorcycle and lets Weber ride it. Maggie tells Jackson that she thinks he has PTSD, and he apologizes for his accidental proposal. Episode 3, Amelia and Owen are back to having sex. Maggie tells Amelia to go for DeLuca, and Amelia tells Maggie to go for Link. Link asks Amelia out, and she says no. I'll put it up. It's Alex's first day as interim chief. Link asks him for a new 3D printer that'll cost $65,000, and he approves it. Bailey's having trouble not being the chief, and Alex spends the entire quarter's budget in one day. Weber and Levi have a patient who passed out while teaching a woodshop class. One of the students got the table saw lodged in his chest. Levi got the teacher's blood drawn, and his alcohol level is through the roof. Weber interrogates the guy during surgery, and Alex kicks him out for it because he's really intense. After surgery, Weber gives the patient alcohol, and it turns out the patient has autobrewery syndrome. It turns sugar into alcohol in his bloodstream, and that the drink Weber gave him was water. If it was alcohol, I would have given him a black star. But this is just kind of weird behavior, so we'll let it slide. Jackson takes a leave of absence. Is he gone? I don't know. Maggie is really bummed out. Joe misses working with Meredith. I miss this also. The dream team. Vic is still here somehow, and he treats a patient in the ER with a nosebleed and implies that the patient got it from snorting cocaine, despite no evidence to suggest that. 5 hours later, and the guy is still bleeding, and he starts coughing up blood. Karasik yells at him for not even doing a physical exam on the patient, and the patient dies, so Alex fires Vic. I think that's the end of Vic. Episode 4, Maggie is very stressed out that she can't tell Amelia and Owen about Teddy. Karina tells DeLuca that she needs to go home for Italy for a bit to take care of their dad. Meredith is going on a date set up by Cece. She bets with Alex that she can get out of the date in 20 minutes without hurting the guy's feelings. They don't kiss, so I'm not putting him on the wall. It's a blind date. The guy realizes that he's supposed to be on a date with another girl at a restaurant, and the girl is with the guy that Meredith is supposed to be with. They laugh about it, and their date is going well, and then he says that he doesn't like dating single moms, and she walks out. Andy, my beloved, from Station 19, talks with Meredith after, and they have more chemistry than any man Meredith has ever been with. It's frustrating. Speaking of, the firefighters from Station 19 are here. Dean, I don't know if we've seen him before, but I'll put him on the wall. Okay, I just put up all the Station 19 people who end up sleeping with someone regardless if they are sleeping with someone currently. So we have Dean up there. Victoria Hughes, who I will call Vic, not to be confused with Vikram Roy. He's gone. Whenever I talk about Vic, I'm talking about Victoria Hughes from Station 19, my beloved. And then Maya Bishop. Those are the Station 19 people that get put up at the moment. Anyways, Dean asks out Maggie, and she laughs at him, and then she gets called away to a surgery before she can answer him. Weber gives a pep talk to Alex about being chief. Alex treats a patient who needs surgery but won't get it because his insurance won't cover it. Alex cuts the guy so that he can operate and say that it'll count as an emergency surgery. I think that's illegal. Kadri says that she has to report it, and Alex says, good, you just told the chief, and walks away. I should give him a black star, but I'm going to give him a gold star, because what are you going to do about it? Weber is like, girl, this is not the advice I was giving you, and Alex says that he was using the words of Weber's mom, and Weber is like, don't use my mom's words, and Alex is like, well, here's something that my mom used to say. Bats. There are bats everywhere, Alex, and they know your phone number. What a gal. Owen's mom is here, and he's like, Mom, are you okay? What's going on? And she's like, I'm not here to see you. I have a life, Owen. Queen. Amelia is struggling with disciplining Betty, so she called Owen's mom for help. Joe sees Link, and they hug, and he calls her Brooke. They know each other from the past, and they were good friends for quite some time. Maggie tells Meredith that Teddy is pregnant with Owen's baby. Episode 5, Joe and Link were besties in college, and they worked at a restaurant together. Alex is jealous. Link tells Joe that he and Joe are strictly friends, and she's like a sister to him. Alex asks Link why he never beat up Paul, and he says that if he had known about how abusive he was, then he would've. Meredith finds Teddy and says that she needs to talk to her. She's still in Seattle. She didn't end up leaving. Teddy says she can't tell Owen because she hates him. Girl, me too. Meredith says that she grew up without a dad and she doesn't want that for their baby. We get some Teddy lore that her bestie, Allison, died in 9/11, and that's why she joined the army. Let's put her on the wall and then put an X on her. Also, she's played by, I don't remember her name, but she's one of the moms in The Fosters. Teddy's looking like a graveyard surrounded by dead people. Jackson's back. He wasn't gone for good, and he wants to catch up with Maggie, but she is not interested. He's got a pro bono case, and he wants him and Alex to do this. It's a kid with growths on his shoulders, and Link's in this too. Jackson has a Grey's revelation after Maggie says everything is clear on a mountaintop. Weber tells DeLuca that he is a bad teacher by not letting the interns do anything. Amelia says that she picked which college to go to with one of those fortune teller things. Weber sings with DeLuca and Link at Joe's while they play guitar. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Levi shows up to Joe's to get a drink with Nico, and Helm tells him that it's a date, but then she says that she was wrong. Episode 6, Meredith has another matchmaking date, but it is irrelevant, so we will not show it. Teddy is planning on talking to Owen today, but before she can tell him anything, Amelia storms in looking for Betty, who skipped school. Owen says he has to help look for her, and Teddy says that she will join as well. When they can't find her, Amelia wants to call the police, but Owen says they shouldn't, so the two of them go to a meeting, and Teddy stays behind in case Betty comes home, and then Teddy leaves without telling Owen anything. Joe tells Link that he should go for Meredith. Meredith tells Link that she is not interested in him, but they have flirty vibes, and Link puts his number into Meredith's phone. Celebrity alert, Tracy Toms is here. She is in Station 19, but her character in this Grey's Anatomy season is not the same character. Her character in Station 19 is one of my favorite characters in that show, though, and in all of the Grey's Anatomy universe. To be honest, I love her character in Station 19. Weber tells Meredith that Thatcher is in hospice and only has a few weeks to live, and she doesn't know if she wants to go see him or not. Bailey does CPR on a dead patient so that they can use his liver in a liver transplant. Alex doesn't approve of the transplant because if something goes wrong, it could get the hospital in trouble, but Bailey does it anyways. Black Star. Nico asks Levi if he has a boyfriend, and Levi says, "Does it seem like I would?" Nico says he is open to meeting someone, and later, Nico and Levi kiss in an elevator. Let's connect them. However, Nico says that he would not have kissed Levi if he knew that that was his first kiss with a guy. Levi says, "I thought this was a teaching hospital," so let's give him a gold star for that, because that's really good. Link has a kid patient with bone cancer. He comforts the mom by saying that he had the same cancer when he was a kid and he survived. Link cuts his hair to make the kid feel better about losing his hair. Gold star. And Joe and Meredith fix his hair. I'll show a picture of what Link looked like when he first arrived on this season with his long hair, because it's atrocious. The short hair is much better on him. Episode 7, Meredith and Karasik are flying out to see Catherine, but they don't know why. There's a big spinal tumor for them, and it's Catherine's tumor. She hasn't told Weber or Jackson yet, and Karasik tells Meredith that Catherine saved him after his kid died. Catherine has cancer that won't shrink from chemo. Maggie accidentally checks Jackson's phone, and he has a text from another woman that says, "Miss you, less than 3. And it's someone that he met while he was on his spiritual sabbatical. Maggie doesn't believe that they didn't sleep together, and Jackson also tells her that he's been talking to April. Maggie is mad that he's telling these other women things that he doesn't tell her, and he says that she is not vulnerable, and he can't talk to her. He says that she always runs away. He tells her that he loves her, and then she leaves. Weber loses one of his patients who was a nurse at Grey Sloan. He goes to a meeting after and hears that a bar is offering shots for chips. Every 1 year chip that you give, they give you a shot. Weber goes to the bar and gets 8 shots poured for him, and then he goes behind the bar, grabs a baseball bat, and smashes a bunch of bottles. I should give him a black star for that, but that's king behavior, so gold star, and he calls Meredith from jail. Episode 8, Meredith bails Weber out. They are talking in the car when a tree branch falls and breaks the windshield. Bailey benches Weber for the day, and Weber thinks that Catherine is having an affair with Karasik. He tells Bailey that she needs to get help for taking a sabbatical from Ben. I don't remember if I mentioned that happened, but they're like, Ben and Bailey are on a break, unfortunately. Cece tries to set Meredith up with Link, but she is not interested. Later, though, Meredith tells Link that she will go out for him. DeLuca sees and tells Meredith that he doesn't regret kissing her at the wedding and that he is still an option for her. Okay, so the reason Bailey and Ben are separated so that Bailey can de-stress. She is very stressed out from Ben being a firefighter. He does come over, though, to board up their windows at their house because there's a big windstorm coming. Alex sleeps in, and he can't get to the hospital because it's too windy. The ER is a madhouse. Teddy shows up, and Bailey grants her privileges, and Teddy tells Owen that she needs to tell him something after surgery. However, after Owen keeps asking her, she tells him that she is pregnant with his baby. Betty shows up to the ER, a branch hit her head, and she tells Amelia that she's still high. After Amelia loses a patient, Amelia hugs Betty and thanks her for coming back, and says that she can always come back. Gold star, Amelia. I love you. Levi is still mad at Nico, and they get stuck in the clinic. Levi wants to stay put, but when Nico goes to leave, he gets launched into an ambulance. Levi crawls over to him and says that they need to get inside the ambulance, and he tells Nico that when Nico kissed him, it was the first time everything made sense, and they make out. Meredith tells Maggie that Catherine has cancer, so she needs to make up with Jackson so that she can be there for him. They make up, and Maggie tells Jackson. Amelia tells Owen that she wants to apply to be Betty's foster mom. She says this in front of Owen and Teddy, so it's kind of awkward. Owen is about to tell Amelia, but then the power goes out of the hospital, and they get stuck in an elevator with a patient. Meredith and DeLuca are also stuck in an elevator. Episode 9, Nico and Levi are getting freaky in the ambulance. The power comes back on, but the elevators aren't moving. Owen tells Amelia that Teddy's pregnant, and she looks really happy and then looks at Owen and says, "It's yours?" Good moment. Their patient starts crashing and they have to open him up in the elevator. Teddy tells Owen that she doesn't want to be with him. She wants him to be with Amelia, but she's going to stay in Seattle so that her kid can have 2 parents. Amelia freaks out about trauma surgery and says that she misses neuro. Meredith wants to get out of the elevator with DeLuca, and so DeLuca tries to go out through the ceiling, but Meredith's like, let's not do that. DeLuca gives Meredith some backstory about his family, about him coming to the US and Karina staying in Italy. His dad was a famous surgeon too, but not very well liked. He says in Italian that his father suffered from mental illness and killed 4 patients in a manic state. Meredith decides that they should try to find the trapdoor at the top of the elevator. DeLuca hits on her in Italian, and she responds back and says that she took Italian for 3 years in college. They're about to kiss when the elevator opens. Bailey and Helm are stuck in an elevator with the donor for Cece's heart. Jackson and Kadri find the elevator that they are in, and Link pries the door open. The maintenance guy helps too after he finds out the donor patient for Cece is in there. They pry the doors open and get the patient and Bailey out. The maintenance guy starts to climb out, and then the elevator starts moving and crushes his leg. Nightmare scenario. Jackson and Link argue about treatment for his legs, with Jackson fighting to not amputate. Weber finds Betty wandering around and has her wander with him. He leaves her and then catches her trying to steal drugs. Amelia says that she wants to help Betty, but she needs to help herself. She's called a rehab facility and gotten her a bed, and Betty agrees to go. Alex heads into the hospital. He walks in on Nico and Levi getting dressed and tells them to get back to the hospital. He gets mad at Bailey for kicking him off of surgery, but later Bailey cries in his arms and says that she needs help. Cece starts crashing. They get the heart just in time, and it takes, and they start working on her kidneys when her heart starts to give out, and she doesn't make it. Rest in peace, Cece, I love you. Owen tells Amelia that nothing is going to happen between him and Teddy, yeah, I'm sure, and that he is here for her. Amelia says that that's not true, and gives him some time to consider his options. She's so mature and I love her. Alex tells Levi and Nico to hook up in on-call rooms, not ambulances. Jackson goes to tell Weber about Catherine, and DeLuca asks Meredith out on a proper date. Lynx walks up to her to ask her the same thing. Meredith says it's like being haunted and that she's gonna go home to her kids. She says, "I'll see you later," and Link and DeLuca say, "You'll see who later?" But she does not answer. Episode 10, Karasik shows Amelia Catherine's scans and asks for her help. Amelia is speechless. Catherine fires Meredith from her team for telling people about the cancer. Bailey is going to therapy, yay! And Weber got a new sponsor, yay! Gold stars for the 2 of them. Teddy asks Bailey for a job. She gives a whole spiel, and then she's like, "Sorry, Queen, you have to repeat that to Alex. I am not the chief anymore." He tells her that she has to audition for Maggie to get a job since she is chief of cardio. Owen is mad at Teddy for not telling him immediately, and she's like, "Girl, you were fully with Amelia." Amelia overhears Owen calling them a crap situation. Owen is sick and has an IV in. He's doing surgery and the anesthesiologist accidentally injects the propofol into him instead of the patient. And that means DeLuca gets to do a solo surgery. Let's go, it's successful. Owen tells Teddy that she should work in trauma and that she can have his job and he'll work under her. And he tells Amelia that he wants Amelia, even though he asked Teddy to stay. Catherine is doing a pioneer surgery to save a woman's uterus from cancer. Let's give her a gold star. It doesn't work, but I admire the Moxie. Meredith and Link are bickering and don't get why Joe thinks that they would be good for each other. They make up when Link helps Meredith set up a birthday party for baby Bailey. Karasik introduces himself to Teddy, and there's some flirty vibes. Episode 11, Karasik is playing Operation to prepare for him and Amelia's surgery on Catherine. They are both very nervous. They hit the superhero pose before scrubbing in. Jackson plays Ain't No Mountain High Enough so that Catherine won't be nervous, and everyone dances. Cute scene. They play one of my favorite songs during surgery, which is This Must Be the Place by the Talking Heads. They run into... What the hell is that? There's some kind of bug. Deal with that later. They run into a problem during surgery, and you know it's serious because they turn the music off. Karasik wants to tip her over and go through the front, which Amelia thinks is crazy, but she relents. Maggie comforts Jackson. Another Jackson Emmy moment right here. They flip her successfully. Weber has them use his path pens to remove all of the tumor. They go for hours trying to get it out. Catherine wakes up after surgery with full function of all of her limbs, but they couldn't get it all out, and they got 95%. She might have to live with this cancer with the rest of her life, but she is happy. Meredith tells Weber that she has freed up her schedule to be there for him, and he's like, no, I'm fine, but you should go see Thatcher, though, because he is on death's door. She goes to visit him, and his nurse recognizes her from some pictures. Thatcher is very happy to see her. The nurse leaves them alone. She doesn't really want to talk to him, so they just sit for a bit. He's got pictures of her and Lexi up, but none of Molly. I remember the sister. I remember the other sister, but no one else did. Meredith is really pissed at Thatcher. He says that he came to Derek's funeral, but that she didn't see him. He says he mixes Lexi. Meredith says, me too. And Thatcher mentions Molly, and Meredith is like, no, my sister is named Maggie. Meredith. Come on. They talk about Ellis, and she asks if he regrets marrying her. He says that he would marry her all over again. He says that he wishes he knew her kids, and she says she wishes that too. And then Thatcher dies. Let's put an X on him. Can you believe he doesn't die until season 15? That's crazy. Teddy invites Karasik for a drink, but he rain checks. He goes to the chapel and talks to his dead kid. And Amelia and Weber go to a meeting. Episode 12 is a time skip to Christmas time. I don't know what time period it was before, but it's Christmas now. DeLuca has a date set up with Meredith at a New Year's Eve party, but she ends up staying at the hospital. And Teddy and Karasik kiss when the clock strikes midnight. Let's connect them. Karasik hasn't even been here that long, and he already has so many connections. What a slut. Bailey asks Ben to come home. He says that she broke his heart, and he won't come back yet just because he's lonely. She says that it's not that. Her mental health was really bad, but she's better now. He gets called away on a fire thing, but later, Bailey comes home to Ben building her a treehouse. This makes sense for him to do this, and it's a sweet moment. I know he doesn't wear he's not wearing glasses in this picture, but Levi got contacts, and Joe and Meredith notice that he's more confident, and he tells them that he's gay. Amelia has been visiting Betty in rehab. After a couple visits, Betty is on the step where she apologizes for lying. She tells Amelia and Owen that her name is not Betty. Her parents don't know she's here. Amelia is like, we've been calling your parents, and she's like, nope, you've been calling my friend. My real name is Brittany. Her parents don't know about Leo either, and she tells them that they can't call her parents yet because she's not ready, and she thinks that they'll take Leo away. Amelia is very understanding, but Owen gets really mad at her for lying to her. He says, I know addiction is a disease, but since when does its symptoms include lying and stealing from people who are trying to help you? Are you stupid? Are you an idiot? Black Star, that's the dumbest fucking thing you've ever said. Amelia gets super mad at him for saying that. Rightly so, because are you an idiot? Catherine is really struggling with her recovery post-surgery. DeLuca is getting very impatient about Meredith not going out with him, so she asks Link out right in front of DeLuca on Valentine's Day. She does stand Link up, though, when DeLuca brings her onto the roof for a date. Episode 13, DeLuca wants to take Meredith on a real date, but she says she has to talk to Maggie first, and Maggie doesn't mind. Joe is still mad that Meredith stood up Link. Karasik and Teddy realize that they are staying in the same hotel, and he is very sweet to her. Joe takes a picture of Alex next to his chief picture, and it is very cute. Bailey is upset that Alex is being treated like the chief and not the interim chief. She tells Alex that he doesn't have to be interim chief anymore, but he's like, nope, we signed a 6-month contract, I'm gonna be chief. And she's mad, but says that she is proud of him. Betty ran away from rehab, and her parents show up at the hospital to talk to Amelia. They are confused about the whole situation. Owen is freaking out about her parents meeting Leo, and Amelia tells Betty's mom about how she was an addict too, and how Betty's behavior has nothing to do with anything minor that she could have done or She's not a bad mom, basically. The dad wants to take Leo so that he won't be with another drug addict, and Owen says he's Leo's legal guardian, so they can't take him, and he gets mad at Amelia for telling the parents that she was an addict. Girl, she is just trying to connect. I hate you. Maggie treats a former classmate of hers who was a bully to her, and Maggie says there should be a rule against operating on people you hate. Episode 14, Jackson tells Maggie that they are going to go camping, and she is not very excited. Bailey and Teddy are walking to work when a car almost hits them. What's going on this season? The car shoves a guy out and peels off, and Ben brings in 2 more OD patients, and then they hear there is a mass OD going on at the park. Ben tells Owen that there's 50 and counting calls coming in about the ODs, and Betty is one of the patients. Owen sees her and tells Weber to call Amelia. Amelia brings Betty's parents with her, and Link and Amelia have a moment while Betty is in surgery. 2 of them find Betty's boyfriend bleeding after he ODs in a closet. Maggie wants to operate on Betty, but Teddy says no because if Betty dies, Amelia will need her. The boyfriend dies, and Amelia breaks down. Teddy saves Betty, and her parents don't want to tell Betty that her boyfriend died, but Amelia says they should because when her boyfriend died in bed next to her, it saved her life. Owen says bye to Leo because Betty's parents are taking him. Meredith beats the record for the longest single surgery at this hospital, and Boki calls her the Wonder Woman. The surgery ends up being 27 hours long. Let's give her a gold star. Episode 15, Catherine is having a party for the doctors. Meredith tells Alex that she and DeLuca are dating. Alex says as chief they need to report their relationship to HR, but as a friend, he is happy for her. Helm tells Alex that Mrs. Karev is there to see him. He says that he will meet her at the party, but it's not Joe, it's his mom. Joe sees his mom and tells her that she can give her a ride to the party. Alex and Joe are worried that she's having some kind of psychotic break, and she made Alex a bunch of scarves in different colors because she doesn't know what his favorite color is. She's kind of just chilling and knitting at the party while Joe and Alex freak out. Betty is moving back home with her parents. Amelia tells her that she can call her whenever she needs to, and Leo is going too. At the party, Amelia and Owen fight because Owen loves to fight at a party. I hate this man, he's being so immature. Owen is mad at Karasik for being with Teddy, but he doesn't say that he's insecure about Teddy. Black Star, Owen, I hate you. Amelia is you're a fucking idiot, and she tells him that she's not in it anymore. Meredith and DeLuca sneak off to hook up, and Weber catches them. Bailey and Catherine are headed to the party in a limo, and Catherine tells Bailey that she should splurge some of her Trailblazer money, so she buys a fancy blender. Hell yeah, Bailey. Alex's mom is convinced that something is on fire and wants everyone to get out, but Alex thinks that she's just imagining it. Karasik and Owen are getting into a physical fight, and Karasik punches Owen. Unfortunately, I have to give him a black star for that. Alex's mom is right. There is a fire, and the oven is smoking, and they all evacuate, and Alex introduces his mom to Meredith. After the party, Amelia and Owen go home and find Betty's parents are back with Leo. They say they can't handle the baby and Betty with them, and how Betty said that they were amazing with Leo, and they give Leo back to Owen. Betty thanks Amelia for everything, and they hug goodbye. DeLuca and Meredith head to her house, and Karina shows up. They argue in Italian, and then their dad gets out of the car. Karina looks so fine. Episode 16, this episode opens with Ellis, Maggie, and Zola talking. Amelia shows up and Ellis says, "Who are you? I would have remembered if we met." And Amelia says, "Would you though?" Ellis whispers something to Zola to write down. This is a dream that Meredith was having, and she writes down, "The light is in the blood," when she wakes up. Meredith pitches Maggie and Amelia the concept of figuring out a non-invasive disease by taking a vitamin. I don't know how that works, but this is next level Grey's Anatomy revelation. DeLuca's dad has some kind of big medical idea that he wants to tell him and Karina. Karina thinks that he is bipolar. He pitches to Alex a baby in a bag. It would allow premature babies to keep growing outside of the mother, an external gestational sac. It's already in animal trials, and he wants Alex to fund it. Karina says to shut down the research, but DeLuca wants to do it with him, and Karina says that their dad is manipulating him. Meredith tells Karina to talk to Alex, but Alex still approves the research. Maggie is doing a podcast and accidentally talks about how Ellis is her biological mother and Weber is her biological father, and Weber gets very mad at her. Alex's mom knit a baby hat for the two of them, which freaks Joe out. Link and Jackson have a special handshake that Joe hates.
Oh, God. Oh, what's happening? No, eye contact. Oh!
Celebrity alert! Jonathan Neves is here. He was in Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies, which only me and my friend Lena watched because there were lesbians in it, and now you can't even watch it because Paramount took it off of the platform, but I remember I remember that show. Amelia and Owen are meeting with a lawyer about the custody of Leo. Owen wants to get back with Amelia, but she says breaking up with him was a moment of clarity for her, and that makes him really mad. Amelia tells the lawyer that she doesn't want to be on the paperwork. Joe decides to take a 23andMe, and Levi tells Nico that he loves him, and Nico says it back. Aww. Episode 17, DeLuca is watching over the land bag babies. One of the babies dies, and his dad fights with Karina. He belittles her for being an OB, and he tells one of Karina's patients that he can save their baby with the baby bag, even though it is not approved for human trials. DeLuca realizes that his dad is being delusional, and Alex cuts the funding. Jackson is doing a skills labs for the interns where they are cutting the skin off a fish, and they are going to operate on a guy who has fish scales on his skin. Amelia and Link go to a medical conference. Amelia cut her hair. She looks so good. Ooh. They almost kiss. Amelia goes to a talk that Link is giving, and he says that he accidentally got a patient addicted to opioids and that he would have made the same decision again if he had to. Amelia walks out, and he goes to her after to explain himself, and he says that he would have been more careful about it next time and that he wants to fix this crisis. And they kiss. Let's connect them. In my mind, I want to connect Meredith and Link because they went on a date, but I don't think we ever saw them kiss, and as far as I know, they don't, so I'm not going to connect them, but I will do further research after filming and see how I feel. Jo gets her test results back and asks Maggie to look at them with her. She's good for all major diseases, and she finds out that she has a first cousin. Parker says that he can find her for Jo, and Parker also finds her mom, and she lives in Pittsburgh, and Alex flies his mom back home. Episode 18. Maggie introduces some new recovery rooms to the hospital. There's a plant room, a blue light room, and a game room, and this will hopefully lower the amount of heart surgeries that people will need. Meredith is still working on her ingestible diagnostic device. Jo goes to Pittsburgh to meet her mom. Alex tries to call her, but she doesn't answer. He gets home, and she is asleep in bed, but when he walks away, she's clearly been crying. Jo! Teddy is having some pain, and Parker gets some help. Karina takes her out, but she is not in labor. She is just having some contractions. Weber treats a non-binary patient and doesn't really understand they-them pronouns, and he says that they-them pronouns are grammatically incorrect. Helm tells him that saying grammatically incorrect doesn't make sense grammatically either. DeLuca lets his personal problems get in the way of treatment, and he yells at a kid patient's mom, Black Star. Episode 19 is a good episode. Jo is back at work, but she's kind of out of it, and it's Alex's last day as chief. Jo runs into a woman who has a cut on her face. She takes her to the ER, and she says that she cut her face on a kitchen cabinet. She clutches Jo's hand when DeLuca walks in. Jo sends everyone away and tells her that she can help her. The patient takes off her scarf and reveals strangle marks and lifts up her shirt to show huge bruises on her side. Jo says that she's got her. Her, Kadri, and Teddy check out the rest of her injuries. She's got bruises all down her legs, and she has a tear in her diaphragm and needs surgery. Teddy tells Kadri to not book the surgery yet because it looks like the patient has been sexually assaulted and she doesn't want to erase any evidence. Jo tells her that she thinks someone sexually assaulted this woman, and she wants her to have the chance to gather the evidence in case she wants to report it. She says that she got drunk at a bar last night and that she doesn't remember anything. She's worried that no one will believe her, that she didn't ask for it, and that a jury won't believe her, and neither will her husband. Jo tells her that she had an abusive husband and that she just wants her to have the option to report it. They run a rape kit on her. Jo hugs her at the end. It's time for surgery, but she is scared because she doesn't want to be knocked out because the man who attacked her knocked her out. Every man she sees his face. Jo asks every female doctor, nurse, anyone to stand in the hallway before they take her into surgery. Let's give Jo a gold star. They all stand for the patient as she gets wheeled to surgery. There's more lining the hallway up to the OR, and Jo holds her hand until she goes to sleep. Teddy commends Jo for what she did, and Jo tells the patient that this doesn't define her and that she survived this. None of this was her fault, and she asks Jo to stay with her while she calls her husband. Her husband shows up, and they report it to police. I think this might be the only Grey's Anatomy episode that isn't named after a song title, but I will double check it. But great Jo moment. Alex wants to hear about Jo's mom, but she says that she can't talk about it. Flashback to Jo meeting her mom. She goes to her house, and her mom has other kids. She tells her that she thinks she's her mom, and she tells Jo to leave. Jo tells her that she will be at a diner nearby, and she just wants one conversation, and then she'll never hear from her again. She waits for a while and almost leaves, and then her mom shows up. She asks if Jo needs any money, and she says she doesn't need her damn money. She thought her mom would be poor, not have a happy family, and a big house, and her mom says that she thought she'd be better off without her. Her other kid's father is not Jo's father. Jo tells her that she didn't have a better life. She lived in her car. She had an abusive boyfriend. Her mom gets up to leave, and Jo says she wants to know where she's from. The mom starts telling her medical history, and she says she wants to know stuff that she can find out, not from spitting in a tube. She tells her that Joe's father is dead. She says she wishes he died sooner and horribly, which makes Joe mad, but she says that her father hurt her. He was a TI, and she was a freshman in college. He love-bombed her into a date, and then he raped her. She tried to fight him off, but she couldn't, and Joe is the product of a rape. Her mom says that it took her years to even say that it was rape. Joe is mad that she never tried to find her. She says that she wanted to have that moment of love that they talk about in the movies that moms have when they see their newborn baby. Joe says, but it didn't happen. And her mom says, no, it did. And Joe says, but I reminded you of him. And she says she's been wondering her whole life if her mom would ever find her and say she's sorry. Her mom says that she was not in her mind at all during that time. She didn't feel anything for months after she was born, but her mind didn't come back for years. Of course, Joe deserved better, but she didn't have better to give her. Joe tells her she was 7 weeks pregnant when her ex-husband cracked her ribs, and that she knew she couldn't have a baby with him, so she had an abortion. Joe goes to hold her mom's hand, but she pulls away, and she asks if she looks like him. She says that she has his eyes and hair. She gets up and leaves Joe at the diner. Heavy episode, but good Joe backstory. Give Joe a break. Please, writers of Grey's Anatomy, give my girl a break. Ben also gives Tuck a talk about consent in this episode. Episode 20, Joe hasn't gone to work all week. She is huge time depressed. Link shows up at her place with chicken soup. He talks about when one of his exes broke up with him and all he wanted to do was be left alone, but he had a friend who stayed by his side. Joe pulls out some vodka from her freezer and they get drunk and laugh about Link's ex who had the word Texas tattooed on her. She tells Link that she's a runner. It's in her DNA, and she gets another bottle of vodka out, and Link tells Alex to come home. It's Bailey's first day back, and she is stressed immediately. She has to show around some high school STEM students, and Amelia accidentally talks about how she's having amazing sex in front of them. Great scene. They also hear Catherine say, I am not giving that man a penis today. The girls are all very impressed by Bailey and the fact that there are so many female doctors. Megan is in town, and she's very excited to see Teddy. She thinks that Owen and Teddy are together since they're having a baby. Megan says there's too much stupidity for her to comprehend. And she says that Owen is so stupid. Yeah, you're preaching to the choir. She meets Karasik and calls Owen a dum-dum. And she tells Owen that he needs therapy. Yes, we've been saying this for years. Alex and Maggie treat a patient with RH null blood or golden blood. Episode 21 I wrote is a good episode. Amelia and Link are still hooking up. His chest is really hairy, that's disgusting, but she looks really good. They're in New York to do a surgery, and they run into Nancy Shepard. Celebrity alert, she's played by Miss Honey from Matilda. Amelia tells her that Link is her husband, and she works at the hospital that they're doing surgery at. She's pretty condescending to Amelia, and she invites her to family dinner. Amelia begs Link to come with her, and Amelia's older sister Kathleen is there too, not Liz because they couldn't afford Neve Campbell anymore. Amelia told Link to pretend to be Owen. Link tells Amelia they should pretend they got paged to the hospital and have to leave, but after Kathleen tells Link that Amelia always runs away, he decides they should stay. Link is charming the pants off of Kathleen and Nancy when Amelia's mom shows up. Nancy says that she didn't call her. Kathleen says that she might have. She immediately is like, that's not Owen. Amelia gets mad and is like, this is why I didn't tell you that I had a brain tumor. And they're all like, what? They start bringing up every mistake Amelia has ever made. They say that Amelia only got head of neuro at Gray Sloan because Derek gave her the job. Link defends her and says that Amelia is brilliant and beautiful. Let's give Link a gold star. But then he brings up Betty and Leo, which just confuses everyone more, and they leave. Amelia is pissed that Link knows so much about her past now. The next day, Amelia's mom goes to see Amelia so that they can talk. She apologizes for distancing herself from her after their dad died because she reminded her so much of their dad. She tells Amelia that she is worthy of love, and Amelia apologizes to Link. Episode 22, DeLuca is leaving Meredith's house one night and runs into Zola. Meredith says her kids know him as the sad man on the couch, and at the end of the night, she sits her kids down and talks to them about DeLuca. Jo is back at work, but she's clearly still not okay. Alex tells Meredith that he thinks that she's going to leave him like Izzy. Meredith tells him that that's not happening. Jackson helps her by having her work on his spray-on skin with him, and he notices that she's drunk and drinking vodka from a water bottle. Jo, Black Star. She walks out. Alex tells Jo that he's close to just going to Pittsburgh himself to figure out what happened. She says that she will tell him when she's ready, and that if he ever did that, she would leave him. He says that if she comes to work drunk again, he will tell Bailey, and she says, great, we have a deal. Nico is interviewing for jobs outside of Seattle once his fellowship ends. Levi wants him to look for jobs in Seattle. Nico messes up during his surgery, and it results in a patient dying, and Nico snaps at Levi when he tries to comfort him. Jackson asks Maggie to move in with him. Owen goes to therapy after Megan told him to, Gold Star, and the therapist really helps him. Meredith helps a woman give birth in the middle of getting a CT. She has 2 uteruses and only got pregnant in one of them. Nightmare, nightmare, nightmare. Karasik asks Amelia what it's like having sex with a cartoon character. Episode 23, Owen sees Link and Amelia together and it freaks him out. Amelia tells Owen that he doesn't get to have an opinion about them together, so Owen goes back to therapy. Levi comes in on an ambulance and he brings in a guy that passed out at a flower shop. This is a crossover with Station 19. His name is Lucas Ripley and he is the fire chief of Seattle. Levi tells the Station 19 crew that Ripley was buying flowers for Vic. I'm not gonna put him on the wall though, because that's like too much connection to Station 19. We don't see any of their romance, but you see it on Station 19 a little bit. And this shocks the Station 19 crew. They had no idea. He needs open heart surgery and his labs show that he's even more fucked up than they thought, but he runs off to go find Vic before they can operate. Levi does. Karasik postpones a surgical trip to stay in case Teddy gives birth. Gold Star. Joe thinks that there is a donor for the R.H. Null blood kid, but the call was actually asking if the kid was able to donate his blood. She totally freaks out and runs off. Teddy tries to comfort her, but she's having a full-on panic attack. Ben tells Bailey that Joe seems off. Teddy comes in at the same time to tell her this too, and Joe cries into the patient's mom's arms. She is having a rough go of it. After house hunting for the past few episodes, Tom rents an apartment for Teddy based on her house in Germany. He's such a good guy. Fuck. Meredith and DeLuca need to perform surgery on a kid, but the dad doesn't have insurance. Meredith writes Ellis's name down on the patient sheet so that they can perform the surgery. Now that's fraud. Black stars. I know I gave Alex a gold star for doing fraud earlier, but whatever. She tells Weber that if he wants to arrest her, to do it after surgery. DeLuca tells Meredith that he loves her, and she says okay and walks away. Episode 24, Meredith dreams about operating on Cece. She wakes up from the nightmare in bed with Joe. She's been hanging out around with Joe until they will talk. Joe tells Meredith about her bio parents and tells her to leave. Meredith tells her about when she almost drowned, and Joe takes a proper leave of absence. They go to talk to Bailey, but she is busy. Meredith goes to talk to Alex and tells DeLuca to stay with Joe. And DeLuca then gets called into a meeting that Bailey is in. Maggie and Jackson are camping on their aforementioned camping trip, and Maggie gets stung by something and it swells up a lot. A blood donor is coming in for the rare blood kid, and she's flying in from London today, but she's really agoraphobic. And Customs takes her therapist. Owen shows up on the plane. He brought the supplies to take her blood there, but she doesn't want to do that. So she has them call the kid's mom on the phone. He puts a blanket over her head, and he carries her off the plane. They're driving through Seattle when there's a shit ton of fog, and they hear a bunch of cars crashing. DeLuca does an MRI on a stuffed cat to make a kid patient feel better. Gold star. Catherine is in on Sirius Foundation business, talking to Bailey. They call DeLuca in to ask about the kid that he and Meredith operated on last episode. Catherine wants to hear about the insurance fraud. Meredith is in the hyperbaric chamber, and DeLuca tells Meredith that he put Ellis's name on the insurance paper, taking the fall for her. Link asks what's going on between him and Amelia, because he wants something more serious. And Teddy tells Amelia that she is in love with Owen, and then her water breaks. Episode 25, the blood donor is really freaked out by the cars crashing. Levi sings to her, while Owen goes outside Gold Star Levi, and the donor finally gets to the hospital. DeLuca walks away to go to jail. He gets walked out in handcuffs, and Weber sees this. He goes to Meredith, and she tells him to tell the police that it was her. He says no, because she has 3 kids. Bailey tells Weber that she thinks DeLuca is covering for Meredith, and Weber's like, I don't know what you mean. Meredith gets out and tells Bailey that DeLuca had nothing to do with it. Weber and Alex come in and say that it was them. Very Elvad wire behavior, which even Bailey comments on. They all say that they were a part of it, except for DeLuca. Bailey fires all 3 of them. Meredith goes to visit DeLuca in jail, and she says that she's going to turn herself in because she loves him too. Meredith tells Alex about Joe's parents. Joe was going to tell Bailey about taking a break, but she gets roped into a trauma, and Joe draws the magic blood donor's blood, and they get the blood to the kid, and it saves him. Amelia and Teddy head out to drive to the hospital, but get stuck in traffic. A cop gives them a ride to Gray Sloan, and this gives the 2 of them the time to hash out any of their issues with each other. Amelia tells Teddy about Owen and Karina, which Teddy did not know about. She also says that she had a crush on Amelia. Owen holds Teddy's hand while she gives birth. Okay, I think what I meant was that Amelia had a crush on Karina, not that Teddy had a crush on her or something like that. My notes are confusing. Owen tells Teddy that he's in love with her, and Teddy names their girl Allison after her dead friend. Karasik is building a crib for her, and no one bothered to call him to tell him that Teddy was giving birth. They don't deserve this man. Jackson and Maggie are trying to get back to the hospital from camping, but Maggie twisted her ankle and they fight a lot. They get in the car, but have to stop driving because of the fog. Jackson gets out of the car to check on the fog, and after a bit, Maggie gets out of the car to call for him, but he doesn't answer. Nico tells Levi that he misses him, and Levi says he deserves better than how Nico has been treating him, but they reconcile. They go to his mom's basement, and Levi tells his mom that Nico is his boyfriend. Amelia tells Link that she is not ready for anything too permanent, but that she likes him, and she needs to figure out who she is outside of Owen. And Joe goes to an inpatient psych facility. And that's the end of season 15. Okay, season. My favorite episode is Silent All These Years, which is the one where Joe finds out about her backstory and she treats the rape patient. And my favorite characters, obviously, were Joe, Amelia, and Karasik. So let's move on to season 16. Alright, season 16. We're starting. Joe checks into an inpatient facility. Maggie is still walking around, checking for Jackson, looking for him. Vic from Station 19 shows up in an ambulance, and Jackson had found some climbers who fell down a cliff or whatever, and Jackson is holding up one of them by a rope over the ravine. Meredith tells a lawyer that DeLuca didn't do anything wrong. The lawyer isn't worried at all about Meredith losing her license. Okay. The lawyer also tells her that she can just go home, and she's like, but I did a dramatic goodbye to my kids. I'm not going to jail. Bailey calls Owen and Amelia to the pit to run trauma, even though Owen just had a baby, because she's fired everyone else. Karasik shows up, and he's not even upset that nobody called him about Teddy giving birth. That's just how good he is to Teddy. What a guy. He does ask Leo if Teddy got back with Owen to get the inside scoop. He tells Teddy that he is in love with her, but they can be just friends for now. 1 week later. Alex is taking Joe to another treatment center. She'll be here for 30 days. Joe gives him an out, but he does not respond. Teddy is losing it, taking care of Allison by herself in her hotel room. Weber has resorted to doing house calls without his Gray Sloan job. Maggie is still mad at Jackson for leaving her on the side of the road, and it does not matter that he saved 2 people's lives. Meredith is having a trial hearing. The judge asks her why she didn't just pay for the surgery herself or do it pro bono. She says that she didn't think her father would have accepted her charity, and that she shouldn't have to do that because the system is broken. The judge asks if she regrets her choices, and she's basically like, not really. Her lawyer begs the judge not to throw her in jail. 1 week later. Catherine puts Karasik in charge of all Fox Foundation hospitals. Bailey is mad about it, but Catherine says that it's because she fired Alex, Weber, and Meredith in one day. Some of the other doctors have quit in solidarity as well, and DeLuca is back because he has been cleared of all charges. Meredith is doing community service and picking up trash on the side of the road. 1 week later. Maggie and Jackson are still fighting, and DeLuca says that they are like siblings. Jackson thanks Vic for helping out with the cliff patients, and he invites her to go get a burger, but she's so busy that she says, maybe another time. Owen and Teddy are having a rough time, and Owen offers to milk her, which she doesn't like. Weber is still job hunting. He's interviewing for a hospital that is ranked last in Seattle, and the interviewer asks if he is thinking of retiring soon, and he says no. He was going to retire in season 1. Do you guys remember that? Joe is still recovering and talking to Alex. Celebrity alert. One of the mediator people is Deborah Jo Webb, Mrs. Hart from WandaVision, and the mom from That 70s Show. Joe apologizes for pushing Alex away, and she tells him that he deserves someone that doesn't break like glass. And Deborah Jo tells regular Joe that she is strong. Amelia and Link go out for dinner. Amelia has a Grey's revelation after she and Link talk about threesomes. 1 week later, Vic and Jackson are drinking coffees in the park. She is so fine. They both say that they're getting out of serious relationships. I'm not going to connect them just yet. Meredith is still doing community service, and one of Zola's students' moms sees her. Teddy is still stir crazy. Joe is coming home. When Alex comes to pick her up, he gets on one knee and says that he doesn't want an out. He's a better man with her, and he asks her to marry him again. Oh, she says yes, Gold Star Alex. That's cute. Owen sells his house and tells Teddy that they'll buy a new one together, and she kisses him. Amelia goes to see Karina and thinks that she's hitting on her and tries to ask her to do a threesome with her and Link, but Karina is like, oh, are you here to talk about your pregnancy? And Amelia's like, what? I'm not pregnant. And then she thinks and she's like, oh my god, I'm pregnant. Maggie sees Jackson and Vic Vink. Maggie sees Jackson and Vic being all flirty, but Jackson says that they are just friends, and Maggie doesn't believe it. Alex and Weber get jobs at Pac North, which is the lowest rated hospital in Seattle, and Catherine is pissed. Meredith gets a letter from the medical board, and they are pursuing action against her license. Episode 2, Meredith is still doing community service. She's got a hearing date, but it's not for 3 months. Her fellow workers keep asking her to look at bumps and burns they have, and she does for free gold star. She starts sending people to Weber at Pac North. She's got a whole line of people that she's consulting, and she has Levi bringing her to supplies. She checks out her supervisor and sends her to Jackson. Levi is nervous from stealing from the hospital and tells Jackson that he's a Gryffindor. Cringe. The supervisor has cancer, but she's worried that she won't be able to pay for treatment. Common theme this season is that health insurance is evil. Meredith tells DeLuca that she's going to write an article about this injustice, and he thinks it's a bad idea to do it before she faces the medical board, but he also calls her sexy. Amelia is asking Maggie advice about telling Link that she's pregnant, but she's busy moving out of Jackson's house. Amelia shows her that Jackson posted a sunset pic on Insta with #freedom as the caption. What are we doing? You're in your 30s. When they're driving to work, a scooter rider hits their non-moving car, just making a bad day worse. Amelia unceremoniously tells Link that she's pregnant. He is pretty shocked, but she gets paged away before they can actually talk about it. He talks to Joe about it. He doesn't know what she wants to do, and he is very stressed. Joe tells him that he will be an excellent dad. Later, Amelia tells him about her first baby. She says that it's her body, but he's free to have feelings. He says that he spent all day thinking of worst case scenarios, but what he doesn't want most is to hurt Amelia. Oh. If she wants the kid, he'll suck up his fears, and if she doesn't want the kids, he'll drive her to the appointment and be there for her. Amelia gets mad that he is so understanding. Later, she tells him that what he said made her a bit in love with him, and that she wants to keep the baby, and he says that he does too. Karasik has brought one of his proteges to Gray Sloan. He is from Hopkins. His name is Blake Sims, but he does not kiss anyone, so no wall. But here's what he looks like. It is Weber and Alex's first day at Pac North, and it is the trenches there. It's also Joe's first day back at Gray Sloan, and when Bailey hears that Alex offered her her own fellowship at Pac North, she offers her more control of her fellowship at Gray Sloan. Alex offers her general attending, and Joe tells Bailey that she wants to be a general attending because Pac North offered it to her. But if she could do it here, then she would. And she makes a great pitch to Bailey, and Bailey says yes. Owen accidentally shocks Karasik's dick with shock paddles, and Karasik gets an emergency restraining order against Owen. Helm freezes during surgery, but DeLuca stands up. Let's give him a gold star. Episode 3, Vic and Jackson go on a hike. There are flirty vibes, for sure. Later, she shows up at the hospital, and he sutures a cut on her forehead very flirtily. After he sews her up, she kisses him. Now we can connect them. Personally, I think that Vic should be gay, but whatever. Later, Vic and Maggie have a very awkward interaction. Karasik still has his restraining order against Owen and kicks him out of the ER. Owen tells Teddy that she should come back from maternity leave early so that he can stay home, because he knows how happy she is operating and wants her to be happy. And then he won't have to hide from Karasik. She agrees and they kiss. It's Joe's first day as an attending. Celebrity alert, her patient used to be Mare's. It's Lisa Ann Walter from Abbott Elementary and Parent Trap? Is that the movie she's in? Joe wants Bailey to grant Meredith privileges to operate because Lisa won't let anyone else but her do it, and Joe FaceTimes her to talk to Lisa and assist remotely, and Joe performs the surgery successfully. Weber unplugs a woman from life support, and then he finds out that she had stolen someone else's bag, so they just unplugged some random woman. One of his AA friends asks him to dinner to hear about it, and after being ignored by Catherine all day, he says yes. Weber, don't cheat, don't do it. Levi drops a guide wire in a patient, Black Star. Kadri is super bummed out that she can't work with Meredith anymore, and she tells Bailey that a bunch of residents only came here to work with her, and now they can't. Bailey tells her she's right, she shouldn't have to work like that, and she's fired. That's the end of Kadri. Kind of bummed out. I liked her. Amelia tells Meredith and DeLuca that she is pregnant with Link, and Meredith is very happy. Episode 4, Meredith's article about shitty health insurance gets published, but Meredith says that she didn't write an article. She just sent them a bunch of ideas, and they published all the ideas. It's got 90,000 likes, and it is very negative towards Gray Sloan. It is titled Hospital Hell at Gray Sloan Memorial. She calls the newspaper and begs them to change the headline because she loves Gray Sloan. She even gets a text from Christina telling her to move to Switzerland before Bailey murders her. She leaves community service early to deal with it, and she goes to
see Joe at the hospital. Joe tells Meredith that Bailey might ask her to take back naming her kid after her. Meredith explains herself to Bailey, and she asks them to take the article down, but they won't. She loves Grace Sloan. She says she's truly sorry, and Bailey says that the damage has been done, and tells her to leave.
The patient who saw the article gets brought to Grace Sloan, and then begs to be taken somewhere else. Owen goes with to see how shitty Pac North is. Bailey is super pissed. Whoever the chief resident was quit this morning, so Bailey makes DeLuca chief resident. Bailey's feeling hot all day and asks Maggie to test her for a heart attack, but Maggie tells her that it's just menopause. And later, after getting blood work, she is also pregnant. It's the season of being pregnant. Karasik is filming a surgery that he is doing with Jackson. Jackson doesn't like that it's being filmed, but he's doing it pro bono so that it can be filmed. Jackson gets Amelia to operate it without him and without the cameras, still for pro bono. And the music in the season is still bad, just in case you were wondering. Karasik drops his restraining order from Owen and says that he can come back to Grace Sloan, but Owen says he's already taken a job at Pac North. Jackson and Vic continue to be cute together. Link tells Amelia that he's in love with her. DeLuca and Meredith fight about the way that Meredith is handling the article and her leaving her community service early. She says that she can't just sit back and not do anything. Episode 5, Bailey tries to tell Ben that she is pregnant, but he falls asleep. She tells him later in the day, and Ben is very happy. Meredith has to go to court. Zola is also sick, so she takes her to Karasik. She needs a shunt revision, and Meredith is mad at DeLuca for wanting Meredith to still go to court and for wanting to skip the surgery to be there for her. Surgery goes well. Her lawyer shows up and tells her that she has to make up her missed hours in jail. Weber's AA friend asks Weber for breakfast, and he says yes. She heavily implies that she wants to be with him romantically, but he is not interested. She brings up how he's constantly falling into the arms of other women, and he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Joe and Bailey treat one of Joe's therapists from when she was inpatient. She tried to kill herself, and we get some flashback to sessions with her. She does EMDR. Joe is freaking out present day because someone who helped her in the past tried to kill herself and she can't calm down. So Bailey tells her that she's pregnant to distract her. They save her, and she tells Joe that she didn't try to kill herself. She just forgot to change the batteries on her CO2 detector, and it was genuine accidental monoxide poisoning. Episode 6. Meredith is still in jail, but today is her last day. It's Halloween, and she pays the bail for her cellmate, Gold Star. Joe looks so fine this episode. Oh my god. She's like a ghost bride or something. Zola is wearing the wings that Derek fixed up for her, and she doesn't like hanging out with DeLuca and says that he is not her dad. Alex is showing Pac North to investors today. The builders working on the new research wing accidentally find a mass grave. Also, all their blood goes bad, but he gets the funding. Bailey confides in Amelia about being pregnant and their cravings, and Bailey doesn't like pregnancy hormones. Link invites Amelia to lunch with his parents for his cancerversary. Amelia is worried because parents don't usually like her. His parents tell them that they are getting remarried. His dad asks Link to be his best man, and Link tells them that they put him through hell through his divorce. Karasik has been in a bad mood all day. He tells Bailey that his son used to love Halloween, but he died 2 weeks before it and couldn't wear his last costume. Very sad. Levi helps a kid patient dress up as a sunflower for Halloween. Gold Star, it's cute. Episode 7, Amelia tells Owen that she is pregnant with Link's baby. He gets pulled away for a trauma before he can really react. They treat a woman who tried to do a home abortion, and Owen doesn't want to give her an actual abortion. Black Star, boo! Boo, get out of here. Amelia gives her the pills, though. Catherine is in town, and Jackson hasn't told her that he and Maggie broke up, so Maggie has a very awkward conversation with her. Weber's niece and brother are in town and are very excited to meet Maggie. They say that Weber is ashamed of them, and that's why we haven't heard of them earlier. Right. His niece, Sabby, shows Weber and Maggie a heart scan of hers. There's something wrong with her heart. I gotta say, Maggie looks really fine in this episode. She tells Sabby that her ex rebounded with a firefighter, and Sabby says, gay? In a really funny way. I will insert a clip.
No love life? My ex-boyfriend rebounded with a firefighter. Gay?
They are very fast friends. Sabby doesn't want Maggie operating on her, but Maggie says that she is the very best. The family doesn't want her, but when she starts crashing, Weber helps change his brother's mind. Catherine sees Weber's friend comforting him, and she doesn't believe that there's nothing going on between the two of them. Catherine offers a job outside of Seattle to Weber. Maggie loses Weber's niece. Really sad. Alex comforts her before she tells her uncle. Gold star for Alex and Maggie. I also wrote that Meredith was dressed really lesbian this episode. I will put in a picture. Episode 8, this is a great episode. It's the day of Meredith's hearing. Her lawyer begs her to be quiet and respectful, 2 things that Meredith is known for being. One of the members of the medical panel was the doctor that killed Derek. Bailey tells her lawyer that her and Meredith aren't close. Girl. The prosecutor brings up the LVAD wire, Meredith operating on Sadie, Meredith and Lexi removing the brain tumor without Derek, and Meredith being mean to Minnick, and Bailey doesn't defend any of this. The dad of the patient that Meredith committed fraud for says that Meredith saved his kid's life. The doctor that killed Derek asks DeLuca if he and Meredith's relationship is consensual, and the prosecutor brings up Alex attacking him. Levi is very nervous, and we find out that he is the one who told Bailey about the name change on the patient, and he apologizes very profusely to Meredith. Meredith tells DeLuca that if she loses her license, she and him won't work out. The prosecutor asks Weber about Meredith messing with the Alzheimer's trial, and Weber continues to say that he did it and not Meredith. They talk to Weber's administrative assistant, and she reveals that Meredith never even matched for Grace Sloan for her residency. It was Weber who called in a favor. They ask Alex why Zola's adoption was held up. The doctor who killed Derek starts grilling Alex, and Meredith stands up and starts naming names. They are the names of the spouses of every patient she has ever lost, and it's a pretty short list. She says that he has no right to say her daughter's name because he is the one that killed her father. She walks over to him and calls him a coward. How could they not even do burr holes? Burr holes. I was doing burr holes as an intern. She says that he doesn't deserve to judge anyone, and he says that they should call a recess to assess Mare's conflict of interest. And she says, my conflict of interest? She calls him dangerous, and then he passes out. LOL. He's seizing, and Meredith tells him to bring him to Grace Sloan. Amelia, Teddy, and Link do this. Weber confronts Bailey about being so cold during the hearing, and Bailey says that he always chooses Meredith over her. The medical board guy who killed Derek needs a craniotomy. Amelia begs Karasik to do this because he killed Derek, and he dies. Let's go! Medical commission say that they are going to postpone the hearing. Alex says they can't because a bunch of people have come from all over to speak for her. It's a bunch of former patients, including Katie Bryce, the Crash Into Me ambulance guy, Melissa Shamenti, and others. Christina, Callie, Arizona, April, and Addison have all written letters of support. I'm sorry, there is no way that if this actually happened that Christina would not be there in person, but whatever. Before the end, Bailey finally stands up and says words of support for Meredith, and they decide not to postpone the trial, and she gets to keep her license. Gold star for Meredith. Bailey asks Meredith to come back to Grace Sloan because they need her, and Meredith says thank you. Jackson and Maggie almost kiss while he comforts her about her cousin, and she kicks him out. Blake tells the other interns that Levi was the one who ratted out Meredith, and they all exile him. Meredith apologizes to DeLuca for saying that they wouldn't work out if she didn't have her license, but he is pretty mad about it still, and he doesn't think that she respects him. Episode 9, everyone is happy to see Meredith back. Christina texts her and says that she sent her a present, but Meredith can't find it. The interns got her a cake, and she and DeLuca are still on a break. That rhymed. Link and Nico tell DeLuca that it's dumb to expect Meredith to think of him as her equal because she's amazing and he is just a resident. And he's like, she can still respect me without that. There is a new head of PEDS. His name is Cormac Hayes. He and Meredith start off on the wrong foot because he has a big ego, but let's put him on the wall. A Dr. Daphne Lopez is at Pac North to tour the place since Alex has the day off. Owen and Weber show her around, and she is very fine. Catherine sees Jackson flirting with Vic and thinks that he is cheating on Maggie, and he's like, no, we broke up months ago. Catherine implies that she and Weber might get a divorce. Amelia is horned up on pregnancy hormones. She and Bailey bond over their weird hormones, and Amelia talks about how the gender reveal doesn't matter because you're just finding out the sex and not the gender. She also tells Bailey that she hasn't gotten an ultrasound yet because she's scared from her last baby. Bailey tells her that she can't fix what she doesn't know. Joe has signed up to be a safe haven volunteer, meaning if a baby gets dropped off at a fire station, she will get called about it, and she heads to Station 19 because she's already gotten called. She talks with Jack from Station 19 about being in the foster system together. Pruitt from Station 19 is here to be treated by Bailey. His cancer is back. He's got a mass that needs to be biopsied, and it confirms that his cancer is indeed back. Bailey starts bleeding from her legs while she tells him this, and she miscarries. No, that's sad. Maggie invites Teddy to do a valve replacement with her because she's still nervous post killing her cousin. Patient's heart doesn't restart, and it really freaks Maggie out. Also, this is the first episode with Perez. He is an intern or a resident at Pac North, but I love Perez. I'll put up a picture. Episode 10, this is a crossover episode with Station 19. I am not going to rewatch this episode in Station 19, but this is a common theme coming up that if you don't watch Station 19, you will have no idea what is happening because they really expect you to be watching both. The episode starts with all the interns being brought in ambulances. I know from watching Station 19 that a car crashed into Joe's bar. Bailey gives Ben privileges in the ER, but not the OR, and she gives privileges to Weber and Owen too. Ben is really worried about Bailey. Weber asks if he's okay, and Ben says no, but Miranda comes first. King! Levi is unscathed, but Blake, Parker, and Helm are pretty banged up. Parker thinks that they were in an explosion, and he's having major PTSD from when he was in the army. Helm confesses her love to Meredith. Levi passes out while prepping Helm. Jackson and Owen gotta peel off Blake's face. Jesus Christ. Helm starts coding. Okay, I called them intern, but I guess they're second-year residents now. I lied. I don't know when that happened. They gotta crack Helm's chest, and Bailey can't do it. I would feel more emotional if I, felt more connected to them. Jackson and Owen sew Blake's face back up, but they figure out he's bleeding spinal fluid into his brain. That's not good. Levi apologizes profusely to Meredith, and she forgives him. Teddy does an echo on him and finds out that he has broken heart syndrome. All the residents end up okay, and Bailey cries to Weber that she isn't okay. Good acting, but Bailey totally has a cold during this, so her voice sounds weird.
I am not fine.
We find out that Karasik paid for Blake's mom to move to Seattle because he wanted to teach Blake that badly. Let's give Karasik a gold star. Joe takes the Firehouse baby home instead of to the hospital right away. Lynx thinks that she has kidnapped this baby. Alex is in Iowa. He's been in Iowa. Oh god, he's in Iowa. Meredith and Joe have a funny scene together. I'll put it in.
Well, because you didn't want him to go into the system and have a miserable life like you did.
Exactly. She gets it.
But I'm a convicted felon.
She's a convicted felon. She's a felon.
They all head to the hospital to deal with the bar victims. Joe brings the baby to Cormac, and he asks if the hospital has a baby hatch. Joe says that they don't, and he says that he used to work in Switzerland, so he used to work with Christina. So he is the gift from Christina. And we also find out that he has 2 teenage sons. Maggie quits. DeLuca goes to visit her, and while talking, Maggie gets served by Weber's uncle. Owen proposes to Teddy. She says no at first, and then she says yes. Amelia tells Link that they are having a baby boy. Link wants to name him Scout because he's Atticus. That's so cute. Oh my god. And Helm forgives Levi. Episode 11. Meredith is texting Christina about the nature of her gift. Cormac ties Amelia's shoe for her when she can't reach it herself, and Cormac tells Meredith about how he's been a dick recently because it's near the death anniversary of his wife and the mother of his children. She died of cancer 2 years ago, and Meredith tells him that it gets better slowly, but let's put his dead wife on here because we do see her in a flashback. I think that's a new record of adding someone and then killing them. That's faster than Karen, I think. Teddy has lost her engagement ring, and Owen helps her retrace her steps. Leo is sick, and they give him an x-ray and find out that he ate the ring. Amelia tells Link that he might not be the father, but that doesn't matter to her because she still loves him. After thinking on it for the day, he tells her that he wants a paternity test. Amelia says, and if we find out that you're not the father? And Link says that they will take it one step at a time. The residents are all recovering well, and I think this is the last we see of Parker, unfortunately. He goes to neuro rehab. Weber goes to see Maggie. She tells him that she can't go back to the OR after Sabby died, and when he goes home, Catherine tells him that they need to talk. Joe and Link treat a guy who swallowed a fish at his bachelor party. Great scene.
The bar had an aquarium. All right, so we winded down Chuck's bachelor party. You know what I'm saying? This is bachelor party. So we start daring each other to swallow fish from the aquarium. You know how it is, end of the night.
Yeah. No.
This episode is an anti-vape episode, and it's really funny. Yeah, fuck vapes. But they're really heavy-handed about this. It's like a PSA. Karasik tells Bailey to light a candle for her lost baby because that's what he and his ex-wife did with their 2 miscarriages. Episode 12, Maggie is back, not to work, but to meet with Karasik to see if she can come back. Catherine and Weber are having an anniversary dinner tonight, but in reality, they're going to tell everyone that they are separating. Jackson and Maggie both bring them anniversary gifts. Jackson invited Vic, and Vic brings Dean. Again, Vic looks beautiful. Maggie tells Jackson that when they were still together, Dean asked her out, and she thinks Jackson is trying to set the two of them up. The dinner is super awkward. Catherine and Vic do not really get along well. After arguing, Catherine tells them that Weber has a boyfriend. Weber was actually texting Alex about offering Maggie head of cardio at Pac North, and Catherine tells them that they are separating. The offer for Maggie is so good that she takes it. Catherine tells Weber that he is dragging Maggie down with her, and she calls someone from the foundation and asks them to put out feelers for buying Pac North. Levi is still on a break. His mom tells him that his uncle is in hospice. He was an asshole to Levi's entire family, except for Levi. He and Nico go to visit to him. Levi comes out to him, and he flatlines. His uncle's boyfriend shows up, and he's like, oh, Saul was gay too. It takes one to know one. Levi gets mad at his mom for not being super accepting of him, and he tells her that he is moving out. Episode 13, Meredith and DeLuca are back together. DeLuca is bringing in a doctor from out of state to help diagnose a patient. She is deaf. She only came because she thinks that Meredith asked for her to come, and when she finds out DeLuca lied, she wants to leave, but he begs her to stay. Pac North has been bought by the Fox Foundation. They all have to be interviewed again by Karasik, and Alex is still out of town. Bailey wants Karasik to bring everyone back to Gray Sloan. Girl, me too, I hate them being separated. Karasik tells Weber that Catherine wants him at Gray Sloan, and he says no. Maggie's hired back, but not as chief. She's going to be working under Teddy. Levi has been staying in Nico's, but Nico is not ready for him to move in yet, and Levi is back at work today. Bailey and Ben are dealing with a foster kid that Ben brought into Gray Sloan. I think Joe dyed her hair darker. Slay. Alex hasn't been returning her calls, and she says that he is going through something. Yeah, I'm fucking sure. Amelia is getting her paternity test back today. Never mind. She tells Link that she didn't run the test. Girl, it's getting hard to defend you, Black Star. Most of the members of the board meet with Karasik and tell them that they are prepared to quit, but they will stay if Owen and Weber get their jobs back. Maggie and Teddy will co-chief, and Alex and Cormac co-chief. He agrees to these terms. Episode 14, we see Maya show up this episode, and we get confirmation, I believe, that she and Karina are together, but right now they're in a fight, but I'm still gonna connect them. Okay, I also realized I never connected Owen and Karina from when they slept together a couple seasons ago. Sorry. DeLuca is having a hard time following Dr. Riley, that's the deaf doctor's, plan for their mystery illness patient. DeLuca is kind of losing his mind, trying to figure out what's going on with the patient. Karina notices and tells Meredith that she's worried about him. She thinks that he might be bipolar like their dad. Meredith tells Bailey their concerns, and Bailey tells DeLuca that he needs to take a break. But Riley figures out what's wrong with the patient. She's got two syndromes that she's never seen in a person before, and DeLuca is mad at Meredith for kicking him off the case even though he and Riley figured out what was wrong. Meredith says that if they were wrong, they could have killed the patient. She says that he wasn't in the right state of mind, and he gets really mad at her and starts yelling at her. Meredith says he sounds like his father. Yikes. He breaks up with her. Nico's parents are in town, and he doesn't want Levi to meet them because they have high standards, and they don't even know that he's gay. Joe still hasn't heard back from Alex. She asks Owen what he would do if he found out Amelia's baby was his. He says he doesn't want to think about that. She's worried that Alex ran into an ex or something. Wouldn't that be crazy? Even Meredith can't get through to him. Weber is showing around the new Pac North residents that are now Gray Sloan residents, including Perez, my beloved, but Weber's heart isn't really into it. Perez calls Bailey an icon correct, and Bailey thinks that Weber is depressed, but he brushes it off. Cormac brings Joey's foster siblings to see him. Joey is the kid that Meredith and Ben are watching. Episode 15, there is a big snowstorm. Someone makes a snowman outside the ER. That's fun. And Teddy and Tom have a snowball fight. That's also fun. Cormac can't get a liver for his kid patient. It's only 3 miles away, but the roads are bad. DeLuca says that he'll just go walk and get it. Gold star. Meredith is like, my man, it is negative 15 degrees out. He goes anyways. Karina says someone needs to go look for him. He gets back after several hours, but he wasn't wearing any gloves, and his hands are fucked up. They're purple. That's bad. He tells Karina that he needs to treat patients, and Karina is like, girl, your hands are purple. Jackson tells him if he doesn't listen to him, he will lose his hands. Bailey is helping Joey study for his GED. Link discharges him, which makes Bailey mad because there's a blizzard, and Bailey invites Joey to stay with her and Ben. Amelia still isn't coming into work. Teddy starts to think something is going on with Amelia and Owen, and Maggie tells her that she's not crazy. Celebrity alert, Beanie Feldstein is here. She's one of the Pac North residents. She sucks up to Weber a lot during the skills lab, and he tells her that she can scrub in on a surgery instead of Helm. Levi loses a patient, but not like in a death way. He just can't find her. Joe is super mad at him, Black Star to Levi, and he finds his patient, and it's Beanie Feldstein. She's not a resident. She's just a weirdo patient, and he catches her right as she is about to cut into the patient with Weber. Teddy shows up at Karras's hotel room, and they kiss. Yes. Yes. Joe is home and hears a knock at her door. She hopes it's Alex, but it is Link. Joe thinks that Alex has left her, and she called Alex's mom, and he never went to Iowa. Cormac asks Meredith what DeLuca is to her. He says it's nice to meet someone else who's a widow so young, and that it helps. And they share a look. And he figures out that Christina is her twisted sister. Episode 16. It's happened. It's here. Flashback to intern year. Weber's speech, and Joe gets a letter from Alex. 10,000 black stars for Alex. 10 million black stars. Bailey gets a letter. Meredith gets a letter. Meredith's letter is addressed from Evil Spawn. Alex isn't coming back. He tells Joe that this is the last thing he wants to do is hurt her, but he's leaving her. A lot of flashbacks to Alex and Meredith moments. He says that he can't come back. It's not about work or Meredith or Joe. He's left. And he's with Izzy. We get some Alex and Izzy moments. When Alex called everyone about defending Meredith at her trial, he called Izzy too, and he says that the trial just gave him an excuse to call her. He wanted to know what happened to her. And when he called her, he heard kids' voices. She has twins, and they are Alex's from the frozen eggs. And we get some stock footage of Children's and like a Peanuts mother, because why would they ever have Katherine Heigl come back? He says that he still loves Joe, and if it was just between her and Izzy, he'd still choose Joe. But there are kids. This is fucking crazy. They should have just killed him. What if I put an X? He's dead to me. I'm gonna put an X over him. If you disagree with me, I don't care. That man is dead. They live on a farm in Kansas. Izzy's a surgical oncologist. He tells Meredith that she's always been her own person and she doesn't need Christina or Alex. And he says that he's finally exactly where he should be, and he asks her not to hate him too much. It's too fucking late. Joe's letter says, I'm sorry, you deserve so much more than a letter. Yeah, you fucking think, your wife? He says the letter is the worst thing he's ever done. Lots of Joe-Lex moments. He loves her, but he's in love with Izzy. I think Joe justifiably should kill him. He says he needs to be with his kids so that they can have a better life than he did. Bailey's letter has lots of magic flashbacks. We see Arizona, my Shayla, too. Weber goes to a meeting. We get some Weber flashbacks. All these flashbacks just remind me of when the show used to be good and when they didn't completely destroy Alex's character. He is very critical of Alex leaving Girl Me fucking too, and we see that goddamn carousel again. We get some Alex and Izzy moments. Who cares? Who cares? Unrelated. Ben is mad at Bailey for bringing Joey home without talking to him, but they make up very quickly. Link offers to take Joe day drinking, but she gets paged, and Link says that she's his hero. That was the worst fucking episode of Grey's Anatomy of all time. It sucks. It's terrible. They just completely ruin Alex's character. Besides last season when he beats up DeLuca, which is already like just character assassination for everything that he has ever done. He is dead to me. That is a dead man. I think this was part of the Grey's Anatomy scam writer's work. So I'm just gonna make up in my head that he died in a terrible, I don't know, what's something stupid that they would do on Grey's Anatomy? He died in that water slide accident that happens in the pit this season. That's what happens to Alex. He got smushed by a water slide. Episode 17, Joe has been sleeping on Link's couch. DeLuca hits on Joe at Joe's. Later, Joe throws a drink in his face and tells him to get help. What are they doing to everyone this season? Has everyone lost their damn minds? What's happening? Amelia's back at work. Teddy tells Karasik that what happened between them didn't mean anything. She tells Maggie that she slept with Karasik, and Teddy tells Owen that Amelia's baby might be his. Karasik and Teddy kiss again at the end of the day. Vic tells Jackson that she has moved in with Dean and his kid, and this really upsets him for some reason. and they break up. DeLuca has hospital-mandated therapy before he can operate again. Weber is super mad. He takes it out on Bailey when she furnishes his office. What is going on? What is going on? He tells Bailey that he's gonna step away from surgery indefinitely, and his hands shake when he says this. What's happening? Karasik treats a fake Elon Musk guy who wants him to tell him that there's something wrong with his brain so he can have an excuse for why his rocket exploded over Seattle. Karasik tells him that he has an aneurysm and that could have affected his judgment. He's kind of like lying though, but whatever. I can't remember if he was actually lying, so no stars. Link tells Amelia that she wants to make him write love songs in the rain for her. He wants to be with her even if the baby isn't his. They kiss. She gets their paternity results, and it is Link's baby. Yippee! Episode 18, it is Pro Bono Surgery Day. Cormac says, you know what they call Pro Bono Day in Ireland? Every day. Brag about it. He's Irish. I don't know if I mentioned that. Weber's brother has settled with Maggie, so no lawsuit, and Weber got divorce settlement papers. Meredith wants Weber to do surgeries for Pro Bono Day, but he says he can't. Amelia tells Owen and Teddy that the baby is Link's. Owen is super chill about it. Teddy tells Karasik, and she says that this doesn't change how she feels about him. Karasik tells her that he can't be the guy who sleeps with a married woman, and breaks it off with her. The Seattle Mariners are trying to recruit Link again, but he doesn't want to do it because he's about to be a dad, so he recommends them Nico. Levi is mad at Nico for not talking to him about it, and when he brings this up, Nico breaks up with him. Joe invites Levi to move in with her. DeLuca is stuck in the clinic. He treats a younger patient who has an overbearing aunt named Opal. Yeah, that's right. That's happening now. DeLuca thinks that the kid is being human trafficked and tells the nurse to discreetly tell Bailey. Bailey doesn't believe him because of how manic he has been recently, and she checks the kids out and kicks DeLuca off the case. He does not get off the case and tells Opal and the kid that Meredith will operate on her. Meredith is busy and obviously cannot operate on her. DeLuca tells the nurse that he'll do it himself if he has to, and when he gets the girl by herself, he says that she can tell him anything, and she says she just wants to go home. A code violet gets called. Someone is being violent with hospital staff. We see Opal and DeLuca arguing, with DeLuca telling Opal to stay away from the girl. He tells security to arrest Opal for child trafficking, and she insists that she's her niece. Karina begs him to stop. DeLuca says that they need to form a human chain around her because she's dangerous. Meredith starts grabbing people's hands and a chain forms, but not all around Opal. Around DeLuca. The girl runs over to Opal. DeLuca tries to convince them that she's being human trafficked and he starts sobbing. He says they are all blind and walks out and quits. Meredith tells DeLuca that she loves him and can't let him quit. Heel says he'll take the suspension if she tells Bailey to call the National Trafficking Hotline on that girl. Meredith announces that they are going to start doing pro bono surgery once a month after Karasik tells her about fake Elon Musk giving them lots of money. Gold star Meredith. At the end of the day, we see Opal and the girl leaving, and clearly, something is fishy. Opal asks her what she said to him, and she insists that she said nothing. Episode 19, Maggie and Weber are at a surgical innovation conference, and Weber accidentally calls Maggie Meredith when he sees her. Teddy is there as well, and she sees an old friend. We get a flashback of Teddy seeing 9/11 on the TV in New York City. They had a mutual friend named Allison, who died in 9/11 in the Twin Towers, and yes, she did name her kids after this Allison. I already said she's played by Sherry Sham from The Fosters. Turns out that Teddy's friend Claire was dating Allison, and the three of them lived together. I'm not putting Claire on the wall, I don't care. We also find out that Allison was cheating on Claire with Teddy. That's right, Teddy girl kisser confirmed, and Teddy cheater always has been. Let's connect Allison and Teddy. So yes, not only did Teddy name her and Owen's child after her friend who died in 9/11, she named her after the woman that she was having an affair with. That's crazy. When Teddy tells Claire that she named her kid Allison, Claire is like, girl, you can just admit that the two of you were sleeping with each other. They told each other that they loved each other. Allison even told Teddy that she loved her more than Claire while she went down on her. That's insane. Sherry Sham is so good at playing a lesbian, like perfect role. Claire even tells Teddy that she was the last person that Allison tried to call when the towers collapsed. That's insane. That's crazy. Claire tells her to take care. In the morning, Teddy apologizes to her, and she says that she can never stay mad at anyone for loving Allison, and they hug. That's insane. This is crazy. Cormac is also at the conference. We get flashback of him with hair when he met his wife. Her name is Abigail, and we see how they got together and her dying of cancer. Ooh! Maggie sees one of her old residents from Tufts, and she and Teddy remark at how hot he is, and Teddy says to go for it. His name is Winston Ndugu. Let's put him on the wall. Winston tells Maggie that he has had a crush on her ever since they met when she was his teacher, and they hook up. Let's connect them. They have great rapport and both say that they have never fell this hard for someone before in one night. Winston asks Maggie to move to Boston to be with him, or he'll move Seattle to be with her. She says she needs time to make decisions, and he's down with that, but he doesn't think he'll feel any differently, because when you know, you know. And he knows. Catherine sees Weber in his hotel room, and they make up. Weber is working on his speech, and in the morning, Catherine disappears. She was never there. He hallucinated her. Something is going on. Everyone there and at home watches Weber's speech about the Path Pen. He says with his wife's help, he's figured out how to cure cancer. This is gonna be great. His slides are incomprehensible. Maggie says that something is wrong. Catherine in Seattle thinks that he is drunk. Maggie goes on stage to stop him, and he doesn't recognize her, and Maggie thinks that he is having a stroke. Episode 20, Weber has been turned into a meme somehow. Bailey, Meredith, and Amelia are working to figure out what's wrong with him. His talk screen was clean, so he wasn't drunk. Karasik asks if they've ruled out dementia or Alzheimer's, and they haven't. His brain scan is clear, though. Joe tells Levi that whatever is wrong with Weber, it won't be solved by a resident. DeLuca visits Weber, which makes Bailey mad, but he says he's just visiting him as a friend. He also says that Riley has emailed him a list of questions to try to diagnose him. Catherine is disappointed by the lack of progress, and they do the Hannibal clock test on Weber, and he fails. Later, they go to his room, but he's not there. Meredith finds him in the OR about to operate. He thinks he's operating on a patient, but he's just holding a scalpel to his stomach. She gets the scalpel away, and he says, "Ellis, something's wrong with me." Weber talks about Adele in front of Catherine, and she cries to Jackson that she can't do this. Meredith goes to DeLuca to ask what he's thought of that they haven't. Levi and Joe are becoming besties. Karasik's ex-wife, Dana Hamilton, is here, and her son is also there. Let's put her on the wall and connect him to Karasik. Her new son with her new husband looks a lot like the kid that they had together that died. He has a brain tumor, and she wants Karasik to operate. Teddy asks Amelia to operate, and Amelia starts operating and then goes into labor. Karasik tells her to keep going until her water breaks, and then Karasik has to operate. Teddy talks him through it when he starts to freeze, and the surgery is a success. Amelia was just having Braxton Hicks actually show. No baby today. Teddy goes to see Karasik, and he thanks her. They hold hands, and then she leaves. Teddy tells Owen that she wants to get married to him this weekend. Episode 21, Weber is getting a lot worse, and they still don't know what's wrong. Maggie, Amelia, and Karasik are convinced it's Alzheimer's, and Catherine is taking him home today. Meredith and DeLuca refuse to believe it, and when Weber is about to leave, Meredith notices that he's numb in his hands and feet, and has sensitivity in his legs, which is not a sign of Alzheimer's. They're about to operate on Weber when DeLuca runs in and stops them. He has to break the sterile field so that they won't operate. DeLuca thinks that he has cobalt poisoning. Gold star DeLuca. Bailey believes him, and they get Weber's blood tested for special metals, and his cobalt levels are 25 times the normal level that they should be. Bailey doesn't let DeLuca scrubs in, but Meredith says that he should, and she lets him. Boki prays before they operate. Link tells DeLuca that this will be a big game changer if other cobalt hip replacements are like this. They get all the cobalt out. Weber wakes up after surgery, and he seems back to normal, and he is not happy to see Catherine. Amelia's water breaks for realsies this time. Funny scene.
No, you don't have to tell me I'm better than your shepherd. I know I am.
You're not. But my water just broke.
Oh.
You want a wheelchair? You're gonna walk.
You do, Richard, huh? Good to walk. Sorry about the floor.
Bailey pulls Link from Amelia's labor to operate on Weber, and Amelia tells him to go. She makes Bailey stay since she stole Link, and Bailey does for Amelia what George did for her. Link misses the birth, but Amelia isn't mad. Owen and Teddy are getting married today. Karasik tells Teddy that he will be in his car tonight, waiting to take her wherever she wants to go, in case she wants to leave Owen because he still loves her. They kiss. She says that she can't do this, but she is in love with him too, and they kiss more. Levi answers the phone for Owen during surgery, and he got a voicemail from Teddy. It's her moaning. That's crazy. Owen plays it off, and he's like, must have been for later, but he is clearly worried about it. After surgery, he listens to the full voicemail and hears Karasik's voice too. Teddy tells Karasik that this was goodbye. Teddy gets all dressed up for the wedding, only for Owen's mom to tell her that Owen has rescheduled it. Cormac asks Meredith if she wants to get a drink, but she says that she is too tired and to ask her another time. Meredith sees DeLuca on the floor crying, and he says he doesn't know what's going on, and Meredith takes him home. And that's the end of season 16. It's fine, I guess. The Meredith trial episode is interesting. It's sad seeing DeLuca kind of lose his mind, and also Alex, what the fuck did they do to that man? Oh, God. My favorite episode was the one where Meredith goes to trial. My favorite characters were DeLuca, Joe, and fuck it, Karasik. Let's move on, oh god, to the COVID season 17. Alright, in the spirit of this being the last season of the video, not because it's COVID specific, I've got my bedazzled patient gown that I've used for drag before. So the season sucks. It's the COVID season. It's so boring. Season opens with Meredith on the beach. This is what I like to call a variation of the carousel. This is like alternate universe carousel that only is for season 17. The beach is the new carousel. Keep it going. It's April 2020. All the doctors and nurses are in heavy PPE. Station 19 claps for them as they walk into work. Weber is ready to come back to work, and he says he's ready to see DeLuca, and Bailey says that DeLuca is no longer a resident here. Perez sees Weber and says, hearts. Love him. Weber is shook about how the entire OR heard Teddy and Karasik having sex. Really good scene.
Or was that the cobalt talking?
That was not the cobalt. Stop it. Stop it. You bad.
Stop. I came back just so I could ask a question.
Flashback. Karina says that DeLuca is in a depressed state of mania post-Weber surgery, and she's mad that Bailey and Meredith pushed him to diagnose Weber. Later, Bailey tells DeLuca and Karina that he was right about the girl being trafficked. Karina is pissed that she keeps making him do work, and DeLuca goes to see the girl. Later, some of the crew holds an intervention for him, and he freaks out, and he says that he would give up everything if it meant that he wouldn't end up like his dad. He knows he's not okay, but he doesn't know what to do. Back in the present, Winston and Maggie FaceTime, and he says, "Love you," before ending the call, and Jackson overhears. Flashback! We see that Joe and Jackson hooked up. That's crazy. Let's connect them. She told him that she needed to have sex with someone that she trusted to get over Alex, and he says okay. On the night, they kiss, and Joe immediately starts crying, so I don't think they actually hook up, but they do kiss. Jackson says that they should stop, but she says she wants to have sex. He says that they can do this another time, and she cries in his arms. Present day, Joe asks Jackson to forget it ever happened, but I won't. I won't forget it ever happened. Meredith is working on the COVID ward, and she keeps losing patients, which frustrates her a lot. DeLuca shows up after Meredith trashes a closet out of anger. He's doing better, and he's got Navy scrubs, which means he's an attending. The hospital gets a shipment of PPE in, and Teddy and Maggie are very excited, but when they open the boxes, it's just full of booties. Weber puts all the masks that the staff were reusing in a room which a robot scans with UV light to sterilize it, so gold star for Weber. Nico is back at the hospital. Levi tells him he's not doing okay and asks how he's doing, and he says he's doing fine. Two patients' parents start fighting, and Bailey gets caught in the crossfire. Episode 2, Meredith tells Jackson that she is jealous that he gets to operate because she hasn't held a scalpel in 2 weeks. Catherine is in town. She demotes Karasik's position as chief of chiefs down to neuro attending. He says he'll quit and go somewhere else, but she convinces him not to. She offers the position to Weber and apologizes for hurting him, and he accepts. Bailey sprained her ankle in the fight. Let me get him. Let me at him. Let me at him. Amelia and Link are at home taking care of Scout and Meredith's kids at Meredith's house. Owen tells Teddy that they should talk. He tells Teddy that he wants to change his will so that Teddy will have Allison, but Amelia and Link would get Leo. In flashbacks, we see Owen give Teddy ample opportunity to tell him that she cheated on him, and when she doesn't say anything, he plays the voicemail for her. Joe does not have any sympathy for Teddy and goes off on her. Maggie comes home from work, and Winston got her a tent. I don't really understand why this was a sweet moment, but it is for some reason. When leaving work, Cormac finds Meredith collapsed in the parking lot. She is on the beach and hears someone calling her name. It's Derek! Yeah, they brought him back, and he looks older. I'll put a picture. Episode 3, Weber gives a speech. Residents are not allowed to enter rooms with COVID-positive patients anymore, which annoys Levi. There's also a new class of interns, but we don't care about them. It's been 4 days, and Meredith is still in the hospital as a patient. She wants to go and quarantine in a hotel, but she collapses again when she tries to get out of bed, and she's back on the beach with Derek. Maggie and Amelia want to talk about Meredith's healthcare directive, but she doesn't want to talk about it. Back on the beach, she wants to run to Derek, but but she can't move. He tells her that she can't move because she's worried about the kids. Bailey comes to talk to Meredith, and it turns out that Alex is still in charge of her care. Bailey says she needs to pick someone local. She says that she can't pick Amelia or Maggie. Cormac volunteers as power of attorney since he's not attached to her. Back to the beach. Derek keeps telling her that the sand isn't real. Meredith starts running towards him and she trips and eats absolute shit, and Derek laughs at her and says that he'll be here when she's ready. Two of the interns are mother and daughter, which is cute. All of the interns quit on the first day except for them and one other guy, but they are irrelevant. Joe has a patient with an extrauterine pregnancy and the baby is growing near the liver. And the baby lives! Karasik tests positive for COVID as well. I don't think I mentioned it, Meredith has COVID. Episode 4, Karasik thinks his test is wrong because he doesn't have any symptoms. He takes another test, and it's still positive. Helm tells Teddy that she thinks Karasik needs a friend, so she goes to see him. He doesn't answer the door because he's finally feeling his symptoms, and he looks super sick. Jackson invites Joe over because he is lonely. They kiss again, and hook up this time. Wow, I didn't remember this happening at all when I was writing my notes. Jackson tells Joe that he can't be in a relationship right now, and Joe says that she just needs friendship and sex. Teddy and DeLuca want to put Meredith on a clinical trial for COVID patients since she's not getting any better, and Weber says that he will think about it, and at the end of the day he decides to put her on the trial. Meredith is back on the beach this time, but no Derek. It's George! Wow, not even bringing back all these people will make this season enjoyable. Maggie meets Winston's parents over Zoom, and Levi and Nico get back together. Nico tells Owen that he was accidentally racist when treating an Asian patient by not testing him for something that is more common in Asians, and Bailey tells him to question protocols and change them to give better care. Episode 5, Meredith's numbers are doing better. Jackson asks Weber to convince Catherine to wear masks correctly because she's wearing them underneath her nose. How do you do that if you're a doctor? You have to wear them in surgery anyways. Karasik gets brought in by an ambulance and he is really out of it. Amelia decides to go see him because he's having neurosymptoms. Bailey asks Ben to take her parents out of the assisted living place that they're in into a hotel room because COVID is running through the place. He brings her mom to the hospital and she's got COVID and it seems like she's gonna die and she has Alzheimer's. It's bad. Bailey tells her that if she's ready to go, then they will be okay. She says that she doesn't want to die and Bailey sings My Girl to her as she dies. Real sad. Meredith hears Bailey talking to her on the beach. Joe gets dragged into an OB case and births a baby, and it makes her really happy. And she tells Levi that she might switch from general to OB. This episode ends with a list of every victim of COVID at this point. Episode 6, Meredith wakes up after sleeping the past few episodes. She's doing better and is able to talk to people again. If she keeps doing better, then she can go home next week. Seattle Pres has reached capacity, so Weber says that they are doing surge capacity protocol. The cafeteria will be turned into COVID overflow, and residents are allowed to work on COVID patients again. Karasik's roommate dies, and he goes to visit Meredith, and they have a nice scene together. Two girls get brought into the ER after they were kidnapped. The kidnapper is brought in too, along with a familiar face, Aunt Opal. She almost gets spotted by DeLuca, but he doesn't see her. Jackson bails out one of the girls' moms from jail. King, Gold Star. When she's leaving in the parking lot, DeLuca sees Opal, and he tells Karina that he's gonna follow her, and she says that she will go with. Gold Stars for both DeLucas. I don't know where to mention it this season, but it has been very heavy on how COVID is affecting black people disproportionately compared to white people, which is cool of them to include. I like that they discuss social issues in the newer seasons compared to earlier on, when I feel like it was more so just focused on women being treated badly in the medical field, like as doctors, whereas now in newer seasons they talk about that too, but also how racism affects doctors and patients, which I like. I like that they do that. Meredith gets out of bed because the patient across from her is coding and she starts doing CPR and intubates her. Let's give her a gold star because that's pretty impressive to do while you're sick with COVID. After successfully intubating her, she does pass out though. Teddy thinks that they need to vent her and Weber agrees, so they move her to the COVID unit. At the end of the episode, Winston shows up to Maggie's hotel room. Episode 7, and DeLuca's bleeding out. So if you, like me, did not watch Station 19 concurrently with Grey's Anatomy, you have no idea what's happening. I did end up watching Station 19 after I caught up on Grey's Anatomy, so here's what you missed. DeLuca and Karina follow Opal to, I think, a train station. Opal realizes that she's being followed and calls someone, and they stab DeLuca. That's right, you don't see this or hear about it in Grey's Anatomy at all. If you didn't watch Station 19, go fuck yourself. What? Maya, Ben, and Karina bring him to the hospital. Karina begs Owen to save him. They gotta operate on him, and Maya comforts Karina. They're back together. Helm tells Weber that DeLuca got stabbed, and Levi finds out that DeLuca was following Opal, and he treated her last night. DeLuca's surgery is successful. He wakes up, and Karina tells him that they got Opal arrested. And the guy who stabbed him. They already got gold stars, that's fine. He saved a bunch of kids. Let's give them both gold stars again. Why not? Later, he starts crashing and they have to operate on him again. Meredith is on the beach when DeLuca shows up. He sees his dead mother and tells Meredith that he has to go, and DeLuca dies. Let's put an X on him. Fly high, King. Joe's patient that had the extra uterine baby a couple episodes ago isn't recovering well. She really wants to see her baby Luna, but she is not well enough. Joe goes to bring her baby to her, but she starts crashing and she doesn't make it, and now baby Luna is without a family. Maggie and Winston are too busy getting freaky to check Maggie's phone about Meredith being vented. Black stars for both of them. Jackson goes to her hotel room to take her home. Amelia and Maggie tell Zola that Meredith is on a vent. Zola says that they shouldn't tell baby Bailey and Ellis because they are too young to understand. God. Episode 8, Meredith is negative for COVID at this point, but she's still on the vent. Teddy tries to take her off, but she can't. On the beach, Meredith sees Derek fishing. Joe tells Jackson that she is thinking of switching specialties. Winston has privileges to work at Gray Sloan. He is also a cardiosurgeon, and they treat a patient who's having heart problems because of his teeth. Wow, that's crazy. You can have heart problems from your teeth? Forgot we can take some things off of the remember this section. Number 1, Amelia says no to dating Link. They have a child. Number 2, Derek likes long watch on the beach. We finally brought it back because he's on the beach, baby. Amelia finds a bottle of whiskey in the house and gets mad at Link for drinking to cope, and he goes to Joe's and they drink. Joe's the person, not the bar. There's a memorial for DeLuca tonight. Everyone heads outside and they project a big video on the side of the hospital. Weber gives a speech. Everyone in the video talks about DeLuca and how great he was, and it ends with DeLuca's video application to work at Gray Sloan. Karina Emmy moment. It's sad. Unrelated, we also see Maya and she got a nice haircut. Episode 9. This is an Owen and Teddy centric episode. Boo! I'm pretty sure I skipped it the first time I watched it because I don't remember it at all. Teddy is major depressed because she cheated on Owen with Karasik and because DeLuca died. This is the lowest rated episode of the season, fun fact. Amelia tries to get Owen to forgive Teddy and she kind of gets his ass. That's literally the only thing that happens in this episode. It sucks. Episode 10, Meredith is on the beach with Lexi. Maybe I do care about them bringing people back. Not really. But Mark is there too. And Meredith asks if they're together and Mark says, "On your beach? Looks like we are." They also tell her that the sand isn't real. Winston's going back to Boston, but before he goes, he proposes to Maggie. Cormac's sister-in-law is at the hospital with possible kidney stones. He gets Catherine to operate on her, and it seems like it's going to be a normal surgery. When she gets in there, she has to open her up completely. Sister-in-law asks Cormac if Joe is single so that she can be set up with her. God, I wish. God, I wish. Karasik has recovered, and he is back to work. Weber closes the ER to trauma because they are down to one ventilator. Maggie and Levi are treating a mother and daughter, and Maggie uses the last vent on the daughter while Levi unknowingly intubates the mom. Levi has to bag her until another vent becomes available, but Maggie figures out how to split a vent between two people, so gold star. At the end of the episode, they take Meredith off the vent, and everyone dances. Episode 11, Jackson sets up a free COVID testing program, gold star, and he gives Levi his credit card to book anyone who needs one a hotel room. What a guy. Link's parents come to visit, but without wearing masks. They say they haven't seen anyone in 2 weeks, so they're quarantined, and they want to take the kids to Mount Rainier, and Amelia says that's okay. Meredith's doing better, but she still won't wake up, and at the end of the episode, she does, and she tells Weber that they have to talk about Joe. Owen forgives Teddy for naming their kids after her affair partner and for cheating on him on their wedding day. That's an insane sentence. Episode 12, Cormac's kids are making signs for a Black Lives Matter protest. Jackson is on a run and runs into the protest. Cormac also goes, and he gets hit in the head by, someone. Probably the police. I didn't write, but it's always the fucking police. They gotta take Meredith to the hyperbaric chamber. Remember that? They haven't used that in seasons. Another patient needs the chamber at the same time, so they're both in there. The intern's patient bursts his stitches and his intestines pop out, but Levi handles it well. Bailey treats a patient that doesn't believe in COVID and thinks it's a conspiracy. Even when she tells him that he has intense COVID and that he could die, he still doesn't believe her. When he tries to leave, he passes out in the parking lot and does die. Get what you get. Winston is driving back to Seattle to try to figure out housing with Maggie. While driving, he gets pulled over and the cops make him hang up the phone. Maggie begs Weber to go find him. Later, Winston calls back and says that the police had a drug dog and threw all of his stuff out of his car, but he is unharmed physically. Jackson tells Catherine that they should be doing more than just donating money to help people. And at the end of the day, Jackson gets in his car and sets a route that takes him 7 hours to wherever he is going. Episode 13, Meredith is getting closer to being able to touch Derek. They're walking side by side. She's getting better, but is still sleeping for most of the day. She tells Derek that she doesn't want to leave the kids. They're in wedding attire and kiss. Winston wants to bring Zola to the hospital to talk to Meredith and try and wake her up. Zola wants to see her, so they bring her in. Derek tells Meredith it's not time yet. She hears Zola talking and wakes up. I wrote, damn, why am I getting emotional in here? I guess they got to me. Joe's gonna talk to Bailey about switching to OB today. Bailey says that she can't switch because she signed a general surgery contract and she can't afford to lose any more surgeons right now. But at the end of the day, she changes her mind. Nico asks Levi to move in with him. Levi does not answer and makes up an excuse about needing to hang out with Joe. Everyone 14. Everyone, get ready to stand up and applaud. Jackson is driving through the night. We see some flashbacks of him and April, and him and his dad. He goes camping. Catherine can't reach him. He hikes to his dad's bar. His dad is friendly with him and says that he's been thinking about him. His dad makes him help him make sandwiches while they talk, and he asks his dad why he left because it messed him up. He slices his hand on a meat slicer. Jackson drives again through the rain and arrives at a house. He talks to himself outside, saying that this isn't impulsive, and April opens the door with Harriet. April, let's go! Harriet is sick, and April is freaking out. Jackson tries to calm her down, and the power goes out. Jackson tells April that he wants to take over the foundation. This means he would have to move to Boston, and he wants April and Matthew to come so Harriet can be nearby, and because he doesn't want to leave her. He would get them jobs so they wouldn't have to worry about a thing. April doesn't think that he's the kind of guy to run the foundation, but he convinces her that he's right for the job, and he wants to make real change. Jackson goes to see Catherine and tells them that they need to make real change, and he wants to take over the Foundation Gold Star, dismantle the medical system, and make something that will help everyone. These are kind of big goals to have, but sure. April also tells Jackson that they will make Boston work and they'll go with him. Jackson wants to talk to Matthew about it, and April tells him that they broke up. Japril Endgame? Episode 15, Meredith is recovering well. She's gonna go home today if her labs check out. Bailey and Weber talk about how they need to tell her about DeLuca dying. They tell her about Maggie and Winston being engaged and Jackson leaving, and she asks if there's any other tragedies that she should know about, and they say no. After Meredith gets all cleared to go, Weber tells Bailey that she has to tell her about DeLuca, and they finally tell her, but she says she's okay and that he is with his mother, so she knew already. Owen and Teddy hook up. Joe is training under Karina. Karina was going to move to Italy, but instead she's staying to get married to Maya. Yeah! Jackson tells Bailey that he is resigning, and today is his last day. We get some Jackson flashbacks. Jackson thanks Joe for being a good friend. Joe thanks Jackson for saying bye in person and not in a letter. When Jackson tells Meredith in person, she says she wins. She's the only person left from her residency class. That's sad. Karasik asks Jackson to go with him to change the Fox Foundation, and that he wants to be a better ally. King! He just wants to help, and Jackson lets him in. Helm has been super apathetic all day, and Karasik kicks her out of surgery because of it. Levi finds her later asleep outside on a bench. She says that she's always wanted to be a surgeon, but now all she thinks about is quitting, and Levi asks her to move in with him. Link tells Winston and Owen that as soon as Meredith's home, he and Amelia are moving out, and they both say, yeah, good luck with that. Maggie asks Weber to officiate her wedding. Episode 16, this episode is called I'm Still Standing. I'm assuming it is named after the episode in Glee where Artie and Quinn in a wheelchair sing that song. Amelia is back at work, taking on her service and Karasik's service. Helm is in her Izzy era, obsessively baking. Levi gets accepted into a COVID vaccine trial, and he has flirty vibes with the doctor who injects him. Nico asks Levi if they broke up and if he wants to see other people. Levi says, I don't know. And Nico says that he only wants him. The doctor asks Levi on a date, but Levi doesn't really answer, and at the end of the day, Levi goes to Nico's and they make up. Luna, the baby, isn't doing so hot. A social worker comes in assigned to be her legal guardian, but Joe isn't very happy about it. She talks to Link about it, and he's immediately like, oh, so you're gonna adopt her? Joe tells Cormac that she wants to adopt her, and she applies for adoption, but gets denied. She didn't pass the background check. Grey's Anatomy writers, let Joe be happy for one moment in time. Bailey tells Meredith that Ben had a tumor, but it's not cancerous. I guess that's a Station 19 plotline, but I don't remember that at all. Link tells Amelia that he wants more kids at some point, and Amelia tells Owen that she does not want any more kids. Amelia notices brain activity on a patient when Link plays the guitar over FaceTime. Meredith tells Bailey that Jackson and Karasik leaving has inspired her to do better too. Bailey is afraid that that means she's going to Boston, and she's like, nah, I'm not doing that. Also, the ever-present Meredith says, I've had enough trauma for one lifetime. Just, it's there. Bailey offers Meredith head of the residency program for whenever Weber steps back. Episode 17, Maggie and Winston are getting married today. Maggie's mom and Winston's Nana object to the wedding because there's, no one there. They convince them to wait and do the wedding another time. It's Meredith's birthday back. Throughout her being back, she does a procedure and almost passes out from exhaustion. Joe asks Link to foster Luna, just so that she could take care of her since she failed. He says yes without talking to Amelia. Okay, and he gets approved. Link tells Joe that he's going to propose to Amelia. Joe is like, I thought she didn't want to get married. And he's like, nah, it'll be fine. He has 3 rings because he couldn't decide. Link plans to propose to Amelia on Christmas, but he gets upstaged when Owen proposes to Teddy. After a few months, Joe is getting custody of Luna. Yay, gold star for Joe. Jackson lets Joe and Luna stay in his old apartment. Teddy tests positive for COVID, but she doesn't have any symptoms the whole time and is fine. At the end of the episode, Maggie and Winston have a proper wedding with everyone there. At the wedding, Link takes Amelia to the beach with Meredith's kids and has each one of them hold a ring and propose to her. Proposing at someone else's wedding is disgusting, so Black Star, and she says no. And that's the end of season 17. I do not have any favorite episodes. I didn't even write that I had any favorite characters, so I'm just gonna guess based on the notes that my favorite characters were Karasik, Joe, and April, because she was there one time. So yeah, that's the end of this section. We got through 6 more seasons. Hopefully genuinely. The next part of season 18 through 22 should actually come out soon. I'm basically almost done with my notes. I'm almost caught up on season 22. So genuinely, hopefully, it'll actually come out within a month or 2. And I won't be lying to you like I did last time when it came out like a year and a half later. Oops. Sorry. But yeah, here's the wall at the end of what we got going on. We got some dead people. We got some people who I marked as dead who are not, but they are dead to me. And yeah, I'll see you soonish, hopefully, for seasons 18 through 22.